inch from that first round already. And just days before on Saturday morning, if you remember, we saw about 1 to 2 inches in some areas. So localized flooding definitely could cause a problem, especially in those areas that get run over yet again with some strong to severe storms. Now again, seeing the heavier showers kind of just now entering into Macquarie County, Kentucky from Monticello, and seeing a heavier shower kind of just north of the Jamestown area in Fentress County. But we're going to continue to watch everything on this line, especially because it did earlier have those tornado warnings with it, and it still is producing these severe thunderstorm warnings with it as well. Looks like we're going to continue to see the National Weather Service warning ahead of this line, which is really good and beneficial, so that way we're able to prepare before these storms do arrive. And just know that these storms are also going to be quite noisy. Like Ken mentioned, we are seeing kind of all that storm fuel still present in the area, especially along the plateau and kind of on the western portion of our area here. That definitely is going to help cause those noisier storms. Definitely going to see kind of a lightning show in some areas, but kind of looking at our winds at the moment, it's kind of hard to tell because we're on that cusp of the radar. So the further out the radar has to go, it's kind of harder for it to see, but we are still seeing kind of those bright reds and those greens right there indicating to us those gustier winds. And with this line coming on through, we could see winds gusting up to 60, 70 miles an hour. And this line is traveling pretty quickly. So we're going to continue to monitor everything. But again, our threats again do include the threat of seeing possibly some tornadoes, especially within this line, damaging winds, straight line winds, heavy rainfall, and a low to medium threat for hail. Ken?
Margo, again, strong winds are really going to be the biggest issue with these that we're looking at kind of moving across the area now. I'm also posting, letting people know that we are live online. At this point, we're not going to be on air simply because the threat, damaging winds look to kind of be the main thing we're keeping an eye on. But if we need to, we're certainly going to do that. We'll go on air and online, but we're going to stay online basically right now at this point. So let me post this as we're doing, and we're going to continue to track this. So if you don't mind, Margaret, let me just go ahead and get this posted so we make sure everybody's aware of this online across the area.
No, we're still watching this line moving on through, actually kind of starting to see the brunt of it moving on into Fentress County. So let's take a look at some areas that are probably hearing a lot of heavy rain on the rooftops and probably seeing some lightning. So if you're near Squirrel Flat, Helena, Little Crab, Double Top, even close to Manson and Cooper, just north of Jamestown, so East Jamestown, Sharp Place, starting to hear probably that heavier rain on the rooftops. You can see the deep reds right here, kind of getting towards that darker red on the Fentress County line right there near Eastport. But again, we're going to watch everything moving forward. Taking a zoomed out look, let's kind of take a look out west. So like Ken mentioned, we're watching everything kind of moving on in. So it's this big line that's just out west of us, and we're keeping an eye between Nashville and the plateau because this line is going to move on in towards our plateau counties and our very far western counties, which again have that storm fuel available for our area to where we would see those stronger to severe storms. And we did earlier see those strong storms where we had 2 or 3 tornado warned storms, also multiple severe thunderstorm warnings. So we had a lot going on this afternoon, and it looks to be a pretty busy evening and early morning for Memorial Day. But again, watching this line, we do already here in East Tennessee have a couple of warnings. Again, one is for Jamestown. This until 12:45 a.m. Central Time, so 1:45 Eastern Time. We also have a severe warned storm in Scott County until 2:15. I think this also includes portions of Campbell County and the very far northern portion of Morgan County. We also have a severe thunderstorm warning along McCreary County and Whitley County that I think they extended into Knox and Bell County. So all of these are going until about 2:45 a.m. So we have about an hour on these warned storms just because they are warning ahead of this line, which again is good, so we're able to prepare, but we have a long time sitting on these warnings for this line moving through. But again, it's moving quite quickly. I think about an hour ago it was closer towards the Bowling Green area, and now it's kind of in our area. So we're going to continue to watch everything. Again, taking a look at the winds, starting to see them kind of try to gust up a little bit on that line. Again, we're on the cusp of the radar, so it is kind of hard to tell. But again, we're going to watch everything as it moves forward. Those straight line winds, though, definitely can kick up debris, which is why when we do see these severe thunderstorm warnings, you definitely should get to your safe place because debris could fly and we don't want you to be near any windows. Ken?
Yeah, Margot, again, we were talking about those storms that are kind of moving into Kentucky. I want to point out we've got a few isolated showers as well. Northern Roane, West Knox County. At this point, it's just rain. The cells are by themselves away from this main line, so we will keep an eye on these. This is kind of what we saw, what happened earlier in the day on Sundays, where the storms that developed out ahead of the main line started to see signs of rotation. So we'll keep an eye on these two, the one near Oak Ridge and then the one that's basically west side of Knoxville approaching I-75. But as of now, we're talking about just this line of thunderstorms that's racing very quickly across McCreary County, heading over towards Williamsburg, Barberville, and the storm will continue to kind of move off to the east. So I'm going to quickly put a track on this. It's moving at over 50 miles per hour, that line itself, and I'm going to make this a little bit wider, but easily wind damage is going to be the biggest concern with these, at least initially, but we have to watch in case there's the possibility we see a quick spin up along this line that could produce a tornado. But again, this line is moving so quickly, you don't have a whole lot of time. So if a warning is issued for your area, we want to make sure you are in your safe spot. So this area we're watching here, this is going to be Youngs Creek around 155, Clio 157, Jellicoe Creek at 157, and Balltown around 159. That's going to be into southeast Kentucky, coming out of McCreary, moving into Whitley County, and basically crossing the I-75 corridor. Kind of looks like they have cleared these warnings back to the west. Looks like Fentress County they took out of the warning, Margot. I'm going to guess they just replaced this with what we call a special weather statement that goes until 1 o'clock Central Time. And what that means is the warning criteria, it's not at 58 mile per hour winds or greater or at 1 inch in diameter hail or greater. It's probably just below that. So we could be talking about some 40 to 50 mile per hour winds. Still enough to make sure you're paying attention to this, but maybe not quite as severe as what it looked like earlier. That would be with the southern edge of this line. Areas to the north, though, still a little more menacing. We'll say that kind of makes its way. That's not in our viewing area, Pulaski County, but it's just north of McCreary. But that probably is the worst part of the line, I'd say, right now that we're keeping an eye on is that cluster of storms right there. Let's take a look, just see the winds that we're talking about. And you can see the brighter reds. Again, we're kind of far away from the radar in Morristown, but still, we may be talking about winds 60 plus miles per hour, which is why they prompted the warning. And we are seeing at least a little bit of shear, possibly very close to this area north of Pine Knot. So not an immediate threat, but something I'll keep an eye on. Again, maybe where we're starting to see right next to each other, the colors just north of Pine Knot, that could be something of a concern. But let's go again a little further to the south, and what I want to show you, just these individual cells that have started to develop just recently that are kind of making their way up through Knox County. These are moving due east. Nothing too threatening now, but since they are just by themselves away from this main line of storms, it'll be something worth watching over the next, say, 30 minutes or so to see if anything does develop ahead of this. But as of right now, Fentress County, you've been cleared from that severe thunderstorm warning, but we still have one up into Whitley and McCreary counties in Kentucky and also for Scott counties. And again, it is going to be just for that threat for damaging winds, Margot, as this pushes to the east. So let's hope this trend continues where the southern edge of this, we see winds. I'd still rather see winds, less than 60 miles per hour, but keep in mind, again, even if they're 45 to 50, that could still cause some damage as these come through. And we'll have to watch to see if we see any little circulations or spin-ups along this line. Yeah, especially because this line, again, has had the capability of doing that. We saw it in Middle Kentucky, and we saw it even further north. So we're going to keep a very close eye on those kind of close spin-ups. But again, we're watching these warnings. Again, they do have on the Kentucky warnings a possible tornado tag just because of those quick spin-ups. And again, it's just because this storm has produced a tornado before, could again. So that's what we're going to keep watching. But this storm is moving quite quickly. I feel like 15 minutes ago, it was on the McCreary County border, and now it's almost fully through McCreary County. But we're going to keep watching everything. Let's take a zoomed in look to see areas that are probably having a noisy time this morning. In McCreary County, kind of near Funston,
near Whitley City Elementary School, McCreary Academy, near Denny, as well as Alpine. Seeing some heavier showers, probably hearing some noisier stuff, especially on the roof. And again, this is all going east, so soon it will be affecting portions of Whitley County, Kentucky as well. Taking kind of a zoomed out look towards the Ventures County, where we're seeing some showers. Now, I know we don't have that warning on there anymore, but still seeing those heavier showers as well in the northern portions, kind of near Double Top again, Pine Haven. Just now getting towards the Jamestown area, near Helena, close to East Jamestown now as well as Sharp Place. So we're seeing a lot going on right now. Again, this is what we're going to continue to watch as we move forward into the next couple of hours as this line continues to drop down into the rest of our area. But we do have those warnings right now still for Morgan, Scott, portions of Campbell counties until 2:15 this morning, and then those warnings up in Kentucky for Knox, Bell, Whitley, and McCreary until about 2:45. So we've got some time left on these storms just because this storm system is moving pretty quickly, but also kind of slowing down just a little bit. But we're going to keep an eye on everything, especially those winds. Like Ken mentioned, even if those winds are only about 45 miles an hour, that can still take a few things down. I know it's trash day in some neighborhoods probably this morning. Well, actually, never mind, it's a holiday, but sometimes, you have your trash cans out. Hopefully you pulled them in this morning, as well as those lightweight items, especially if you have like those kid toys outside. Definitely wanted to bring those inside overnight, especially with these winds coming on through. But we're going to continue to watch everything, especially once those winds kind of start indicating those lighter colors. That's showcasing some quicker things going on. Ken?
Yeah, Margot, again, people may be just joining us, what we're talking about, the timing of this. Right now, through about 3 a.m. Eastern, 2 a.m. Central Time, is when that line of storms that's already making its way into the region, and then getting close to 2 to 4 right across the central area. So we're just 10 minutes away from that. So we feel pretty confident with the timing that we have there. And then between 3 and 5 areas east of Knoxville to the Tri-Cities and into the Smokies. But even though we're talking about a level 2 out of 5 risk compared to 3 out of 5 for the rest of the region, we don't want to let our guard down just yet. We want to see if these storms will continue to weaken as they push to the south a bit. We talked about this just a minute ago, that there's still quite a bit of fuel. There's more back towards where these storms are now. So we'll see if they can tap into this, hold together as it moves south. But we like the trend we're seeing of less fuel for the storms to work with areas north and east of Knoxville, especially up towards the Tri-Cities and Southwest Virginia. But we'll see if they can, again, tap into this moisture that we have back across the area. But as of right now, kind of what we're looking at, we have a tornado watch, which is in effect area-wide, and that goes until 6 a.m. And then we have the individual severe thunderstorm warnings that are going on until 2:15. Again, the difference between a watch and a warning: watch means that conditions are favorable, that it's possible we could see severe weather. The warning means that it's happening, and that's when you need to make sure you're in your safe spot. A watch means you need to watch us, Channel 6. We'll keep you updated. At this point, again, we're not on air on WATE. We're keeping an eye on these storms. If the tornado warning were to happen to go up, or we see more widespread warnings being issued, then yes, we will. But at this point, what we're looking at is just we're kind of keeping an eye on these storms to see what they do. Strongest winds appear to be getting close to Interstate 75 right now up into Kentucky. I'm going to put a track quickly on this, between about 50 and 60 miles per hour. So Clio 156, Whitley County, the Central Intermediate School, that's going to be around 159 at the top of the hour. The high school and middle school, Whitley County, at 2 o'clock in the morning. So we're talking about 8 minutes from right now. And that would be about the time, Clio about 156. So the next 5 minutes or so, it's going to be crossing the I-75 corridor. So if you're north of Jellicoe to near London, that's where that storm is. Now, earlier on Sunday, there was a tornado warning across northern sections of McCreary and Knox County into Kentucky, and the Weather Service is actually going to go out a little bit later today and survey this region for a potential tornado damage. So this could be going right back over some of the same areas that had the damage earlier. So keep that in mind if you live in these spots. We could be talking about additional wind concerns. across the area. Just talked with the Weather Service there. At this point, the Fentress County, we talked about at this point, it's just what we call a special weather statement that goes until 1 o'clock, so just 7 minutes from right now. And they said basically at this point, we're going to keep an eye on it. We'll let you know if there's a warning, but at this point, sub-severe. So it's kind of what we were thinking across the area, Margot, is that for now, strongest winds are going to be a little further north along this line. So from Oneida, it's knocking on your doorstep now, from Pine Knot northward. But I would say up there into Kentucky on the McCreary-Whitley County border seems to be where those strongest winds are right now.
Kentucky counties are seeing kind of those stronger winds, and I did like that you pointed out that there's already been some pretty big damage up in some of those counties in Kentucky, especially one of those areas, Knox County, Kentucky, that the National Weather Service up in Jackson, Kentucky, are probably going to survey tomorrow or today. But I do also want to mention that we did see some damage here in Tennessee, our Tennessee counties. I did read a few power lines were down, some trees were down. And again, this is going to add to that already. So definitely need to watch out, especially if you're planning on driving early in the morning here in the next couple of hours. I hope you're not, but if you are, definitely take it slow on the roadways and watch out for everything, just because there has been extensive damage in some areas compared to others. And this line of storms is really not going to help much in terms of helping with the damages. Definitely going to contribute to a few more possibly, especially if those winds continue to be gustier in that 60 to 70 mile an hour range. Again, right now we just have these two big warnings out for our area. Again, the ones that are in Kentucky lasting until 2:45 a.m. This is for McCreary, Whitley, Knox, and portions of Bell County, Kentucky, and then kind of here on the Tennessee, Kentucky border in Scott and Morgan County, as well as portions of Campbell County under a severe thunderstorm warning until 2:15. So we have about 20 minutes left on this morning, but again, it's for this line. So it's right now, just now starting to pass through the northwestern portion of Scott County. And again, it's continuing to move on through. We're going to do again what we did earlier, take a zoomed in look kind of towards Scott County, see what areas are probably hearing some heavy rain on the rooftops near Black Oak, near Oneida, Roberta, near Winfield, even near Stanley Junction, probably starting to hear some heavier rain on the rooftop. And Fentress County looks like it's seeing heavy rain pretty much throughout the entire county. And this is also what we're going to continue to see when these storms kind of move on in, is the presence of very heavy rain, and that can lead to localized flooding. Like we mentioned, we've already seen a lot of rain from the afternoon storms that did move through, but again, we are going to see multiple areas run over yet again with these storms. So it is important that you know that flooding is a possibility, but we're going to watch everything going forward. And it looks like, Ken, they extended that warning in Kentucky to include more of Bell, or I might be getting that confused.
Same one, Margot.
Okay.
But basically, I was just talking with the Weather Service as well up into Jackson, and they're saying these storms, as you mentioned, have that tornado possible tag on them, meaning that right now they're seeing mainly just wind concerns, but there's that potential they could easily spin up a quick tornado like we've seen as these storms have been earlier on Sunday as they move through. But I would say the greater risk of that happening the way it looks right now is going to be up into portions of Kentucky, especially the cell that's near London. But this looks to be mainly a wind event right now for McCreary into Whitley County, about to cross I-75. And Margot mentioned be careful if you're going to be out traveling a little bit later this morning. Even on my way in, I saw a tree down across Western Avenue between about McCamey and the Shad Road area. It was completely closed down in that area. You had to take an alternate route, and that's going to be the case really in several spots. You may have not had reports, obviously, with the holiday weekend, people asleep. But as daylight comes a little bit later this morning, you're probably going to run into more of that. At minimum, some small tree branches, leaves, things like that. But in some spots, there could be some trees that have been knocked down on some area roads. Be careful with that, and power lines, of course, as well. And this is a good time to go ahead and make sure your tablets and phones are charged. In this type of event, if we have additional power outages, you'll still be able to get this weather information as we're streaming online on our app, and most likely on our YouTube channel and on Facebook. So you're getting all the areas covered here for these potential updates to make sure we're safe with you. Again, I was keeping a close eye on the Kentucky areas to the north, and they're also in Morristown. They're still going to continue the one here for Scott, Campbell, and let's see, for Campbell, Morgan, and Scott. So it barely clips northern sections of Morgan County. So they're still watching this line that's coming through basically the central part of Scott County right now. I'll put a quick track on this for you again. I'm going to go from Kentucky all the way down, and it's moving pretty quickly. We're still talking that 50-mile-per-hour range or better. So just again, this is, once these warnings come out, you're not going to have a whole lot of time to get to your safe spot. So right now it's knocking on the east side of Oneida, going to be near Pioneer 207, Titus at 210, the Broyles community at 212, and Newcomb at 212. So that's going to make its way into Campbell County. At this point, it's only western Campbell County. And again, this warning goes until 2:15, so another 15 minutes. The key, I think, Margot, will be, are they going to extend this warning? It's going to be kind of a telltale sign if they're thinking what we are, is that, yeah, it's still possible we could see some stronger winds as these make their way across Interstate 75. That's where that greater fuel was, again, kind of the west of the 75 corridor. So if it comes east and we see them weakening a bit, that would be great. But we're not thinking that's quite the case yet. Also keeping an eye, the strongest winds really right along Interstate 75 now into Whitley County, into Kentucky, south of London. That's pretty close, exactly where the tornado damage was earlier, the potential tornado damage that they're going to go out and survey a little bit later today. So we'll keep an eye on that as that's going through the area. But right now, these are the communities kind of impacted where these stronger winds are going to make their way through. Right through portions of Scott County. I'll put a track on this storm. So here's where we're watching Corbin right around 205, Campgrounds 207, Lily around 208, Seiler 209, and the Lynn Camp Elementary and High around 209 as that moves through. And it's going to be right through there. You can almost see maybe just very broad rotation, but worth watching right there near Corbin. It would be right here where we have this track on this storm just north of that. So something we'll keep an eye on, moving east at about 55 miles per hour. So these storms are racing right across the I-75 corridor. So that's worth watching. I'll look here as well. What I do want to see is see if our shear product, it is showing a little bit right there. So this is what we kind of are concerned about, that these storms, as they come through, you'll get these quick little spin-ups that occur just right along this line that's making its way through. So right through there, near Corbin, is where it looks like we'd have the best chance of seeing some rotation if there is any. So probably just southeast of Vox and south of Keavy. So Corbin, Lily, I'd say even Wilton and Arkell, make sure you're in your safe spot as this continues to move east. At this point, wind damage probably our biggest concern, but Margot, I do want to keep an eye on that area near Oak Grove Elementary right now, right where the red and green are right beside each other. Could be indicating where we could be seeing maybe a little bit of rotation starting to pop up there.
Yeah, Ken, and also I believe Corbin was the area where that possible tornado started earlier today.
Yes.
So definitely something to look out for. Already seeing damage there. Again, the National Weather Service up in Kentucky are going to go and survey to see if they can confirm that. But we're going to watch everywhere going into the rest of this morning, just because we do have the potential of seeing those tornadoes kind of spinning up within this line. All of us right now under that tornado watch until 6 a.m. this morning. And we do have those warnings right now. And again, our timing kind of right now, this is looking pretty quick. So right now along the plateau, we're seeing those storms moving on through, and they're going to continue to trek on through as we head on into the later portions of this morning. And again, we're going to watch everything that moves in. But we are right now dealing with a few warnings around, especially in the Kentucky area and in our Northern Valley, Northern Plateau counties. Definitely dealing with some gustier winds with this system moving on through. And we're also dealing with those heavier showers. Again, seeing some heavier showers near the Oneida area. Let's take a zoomed in look, take us home real fast, and then take a zoomed in look just to see what we're dealing with specifically. So we're going towards Oneida in Scott County. Oop, went a little too far, but hey, Jamestown, you're probably hearing a lot of rain in your area as well. Again, possible localized flash flooding is also a threat going into the rest of this evening. But we are going to watch everything, especially going into the rest of this morning, just because of that threat that we've had pretty much all night. And again, those winds are kind of kicking up, especially as they go closer towards that 75 corridor. Again, this line of storms is right now just west of the 75 corridor, and as Ken mentioned, that's where we're seeing the majority of our fuel still, and that's helping drive these winds. We are still going to watch everything closely, but let's take a closer look towards the Oneida area, just to kind of see where those winds are kind of kicking. We're seeing kind of some pretty gusty winds again near Winfield, Oneida, heading towards the I-75 corridor. And again, this is going to soon go towards Kitchen as well as Newcomb, towards Jellicoe as well, taking kind of a zoomed up look towards Kentucky, kind of near Whitley County, North Elementary School, Oak Grove Elementary School. Not seeing that rotation just yet. Let me check from my other radar up in Jackson to see if we see anything different. Right now we're kind of in that where they're on the cusp. Right up there as you get farther north in our Kentucky counties. So it is kind of hard to tell, but something to keep our eyes on, like Ken mentioned. And again, we're also dealing with that heavy rain. Just a lot going on this morning, especially for it being Memorial Day morning. So you need to make sure, hopefully you have your weather notifications turned on so that we are able to get updates when these mornings do move over your area. Ken?
Yeah, Margo, just chatting with the Weather Service there about what they were thinking about maybe the extension of this warning. At this point, they say they're not completely sure they're going to, but they do want to keep an eye on this whole line as it's coming through. The warning actually goes until 2:15, so another 11 minutes from right now, but they want to see a couple more scans as this continues to push east as to what they might do with this. But still for now, basically east of Oneida, just about to cross over into Campbell County. That's where some of our strongest winds would be. So Pioneer there, we're about 209, Dean 210, Buckeye 211, Titus 212, and Wooldridge at about 212 as well as this continues to race east. We've got a little skit, what we call it, right there just south of Pine Knot. So heads up Jellicoe, Christian Academy there at 222. Also Jellicoe itself at 224 and the elementary at 224. Fairview at 225 as this pushes towards the east. A little north of that, that's kind of an interesting little feature here. It's going to be pretty close to Pine Knot, it looks like up here. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit closer here. So right through there could be some gusty winds, kind of on the tail end of this feature that we're watching. So again, these are the communities probably where some of the strongest winds might initially be. Newcomb 222, Oswego the same time, Black Oak School 224 as well. Let me get a wider perspective, and what I do want to show you is elsewhere what's going on. Just some scattered showers. We like to see that. Nothing impendingly threatening across the area. We're still going to watch this line though as it's kind of moving to the east, but earlier on Sunday, what we had ahead of that line that came through is we saw the individual clusters of storms that were feeding off that very hostile environment that we had. And we were seeing those little spin-up tornado-producing type storms. We didn't have any reports of tornadoes, but they certainly had those little structures or appearances like they were or could produce that. At this point, we're just talking about scattered showers across the area. But still, we need to keep an eye on this storm that has the warning on it. Strongest part of that storm. Looks like they just maybe reissued another one, Margo, north of here. I just saw this new one pop up. That goes until 2:45. I think what they did is they clipped McCreary County.
Yeah, they did.
The western half there. So still looks like this cell is just about to go into extreme eastern Scott County, into the Campbell County area. That goes until 2:15. So about 8 more minutes from right now.
Also, Ken,
yeah.
Sorry to interrupt,
Nope.
but I just want to give a heads up just to put into perspective how gusty our winds are. In Monticello, I know this is closer towards Wayne County, but that's just right next to McCreary County. They're getting reports of roofs that have collapsed onto boats at a pier.
Okay.
So definitely to pass that along to, hey, take these winds seriously, especially near that Corbin area where we saw that broad rotation.
All right, just again, Weather Service mentioning they talked to dispatch there in Scott County, and they do have a tree down on some power lines in portions of Scott County. And it would have been, again, from this line of storms that's making its way through, the one that has prompted this warning. It's still going for Scott County, far eastern Scott County, for another 7 minutes. And the worst part is right through there that we're keeping an eye on. We're talking about, again, Newcomb, 224, Jellicoe Christian Academy and Elementary School, 226, 227, Jellicoe itself at 228. So it's going to put it right along that I-75 corridor. And again, they're moving perpendicular to it. So if there are any cars or high-profile vehicles, maybe some trucks traveling this time of night, when that wind hits perpendicular to those high-profile vehicles, not only can it push you into the next lane, but it can topple it over if the winds are strong enough. So that's something you have to watch for. If you've got a loved one or somebody that's traveling through that area, you think they are, just kind of give them a heads up that this is coming into their region. But I will be interested to see what they do if they extend this. I got a feeling, Margot, that they're probably going to extend this a little bit further to the eastern half of Campbell County. This is kind of the way this current line is looking. I think they probably will extend this, but we'll see. But again, kind of a quick update here. Jellicoe at 229, Stinking Creek at around 229 as well. And what I want to do, again, if you're just joining us, kind of what we're looking at, the timing of this, just updating since we're past midnight. But think of it this way. The risk area that we have across the area now, still between now and 3 a.m., 2 to 4 across the valley, and 3 to 5 areas to the east. All right, so they updated this risk area, but we're still kind of in that elevated risk as what we're seeing across the area now. And again, looking at the storm fuel map, where our storms are now, this is where our greatest fuel is. So west of the 75 corridor, a lot less areas to the east. So logic would say as it comes into less fuel that we may see these storms weaken a bit. Fingers crossed that that happens. We don't want to let our guard down, though, at this point. We still have the tornado watch, which is in effect. This goes until 6 a.m. And the current warnings that we have, again, for Scott and Campbell County, that goes until 2:15. And then the warnings up into Kentucky, extreme eastern sections of McCrary, all of Whitley County. This is also going to include Knox County, Kentucky, and the western half of Bell County. Those go until 2:45. Current time right now is 2:10, so another 30 minutes for those. Just another few minutes, actually, though, for the ones in Campbell County. So, Margo, I'm going to let you keep an eye on those. I'm going to be talking with the Weather Service here and see what their thoughts are about maybe extending this warning a little further to the east.
Yeah, Ken, I definitely think they probably will extend it just because of how those winds have been recently, especially kind of west of the 75 corridor. But again, we'll see what they do. I do want to bring our attention back to Kentucky, kind of in Knox County, Kentucky. We are keeping our eye on this very broad rotation. It's become very, very broad since the last time we looked at it, but those winds are still very, very gusty. And again, like I mentioned, there was a report in the National Weather Service chat in Kentucky of some roofs collapsing at a pier. So definitely something to keep our eye on. The winds that will be up for, it'll be closer towards the Barberville area, the Crane Nest area, heading closer towards closer towards the Arkell area. Again, the Barberville area heading on into the rest of Knox County, which again has already seen some pretty big damage due to the storms earlier. But we are seeing that kind of broad rotation near the Corbin area, taking just kind of, let's go down the line. Those winds look pretty gusty as we head down the line, heading on in towards Tennessee.
Hey, Margo.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm just going to jump in real quick. It looks like they're going to make what's east of this line of storms now into more of a special weather statement. Again, they think the winds may be a little lower than the 58 mile per hour criteria, which is a severe thunderstorm warning. So it looks like they're going to extend this, maybe make it to more of a special weather statement. So yes, that's better news, but we don't want you to let your guard down. There still could easily be some 40, 50 plus mile per hour winds as these kind of roll through the area. So immediate threat, the severe thunderstorm warning is about to expire in the next 3 minutes for the western side of Campbell County. Wondering if they're about to drop Cumberland and Fentress from the watch. We'll get an eye on that. I just got a little alert I want to check on here in a minute. But strongest winds, again, this looks a lot better or less ominous than it did earlier, but still I think there could easily be some very strong winds just about to make their way across I-75 there into the western side of Campbell County. We'll look at our McLeod Mountain camera as well coming up here in a minute. It's dark, obviously, so you're not going to be able to see a whole lot from this, but let's take a quick look. I think we have that on Made that on 4. Yeah, there's McLeod Mountain. So we're kind of looking back towards the west right now. You see some of the lights from the homes and businesses, but obviously you can't see anything, but not a lot of lightning showing up with these as well. So wind is going to certainly be the biggest concern with these as they come through. I'm going to stop it here. Worst part of the storm looks like it's right along the Kentucky-Tennessee border. So heads up Woolridge. It's going to be right around 221, Oswego 224, Jellicoe in the elementary school 226, the high school at 227, and Fairview at 228. I think wind's certainly still going to be an issue, especially along the Tennessee-Kentucky border and northward as you go up into Kentucky. And Margo, thankfully we don't see a whole lot. These are just scattered showers showing up, probably not even much in the way of lightning with these storms. Let me turn it on real quickly. I don't see much there. I don't even see a whole lot except with the cells that are right along the Tennessee-Kentucky border. So these are just rain showers to the south, but some of these will be moderate to heavy because, again, all the moisture that we have in the atmosphere. But I'm going to take a look at the watch, see if there was an update with that, Margo, and I'll let you continue to talk about these storms that are right along the Tennessee-Kentucky border.
Yeah, Ken, I will mention that in the portion of the chat, they did trim back that that watch, excuse me, but that's for the farther portions of Middle Tennessee. I do want to bring your attention to power outages. We did experience some across, especially Kentucky earlier today, and still probably dealing with those power outages this evening. So again, we're seeing about 500 customers out near Harlan County, as well as near Knox County, close to or less than 100 in McCreary, Whitley, and Knox counties. But again, we're going to watch everything heading on into the rest of this morning, just because those straight line winds again can bring down power lines. And as well, we got a report in Scott County that there were power lines down. But again, we're going to watch everything right now, watching still those winds. They're still pretty gusty, especially along this front line that's just now passing over the I-75 corridor going into Kentucky. Again, like Ken mentioned, especially those high profile vehicles need to take it slow or pull over, especially because these winds could definitely, if you're could knock it over. So again, we want you to be safe, especially if you're about to drive early, especially those truckers. But they did, again, like Ken mentioned, end up expiring that warning that was in Scott, Morgan, and Campbell County, and made it into a special weather statement, which again is just a notch below that severe warning criteria. But we don't want you to let your guard down. We want you to remain weather aware as these storms can become a little bit stronger sometimes, especially as this line continues to deepen into the rest of East Tennessee, where there is more favorable ingredients. But again, we're watching everything going forward. Let's just kind of take one last look at our reflectivity just to see where the heaviest rain is, because that again is a problem. We're seeing some pretty heavy rain near the Jellicoe area. As Ken also pointed out, there was a lot of lightning near the Jellicoe area, and seeing lots and lots of rain kind of just north of Barberville. Ken?
Yeah, Margo, what I was looking at the watches, what they've done is they've dropped the tornado watches back across northern Middle Tennessee. So the Nashville area has been cleared back to Clarksville, and as close as portions, it's just over the Pickett County border, but not quite for our area yet. But this is a trend, I think, that will occur. They'll probably continue to cut back some of these counties, but areas still in our viewing region, that's going to continue a little bit longer, again, because this threat is still there for the potential of some severe thunderstorms that could produce these damaging wind gusts, maybe even an isolated tornado. So the one cell that we're really keeping an eye on right now in Campbell County, very close to the Jellicoe area. In fact, it's there at about 226, so less than 10 minutes from right now. Black Oak School, 226, and Fairview at 227. That line's moving east at about 42 miles per hour, it's showing. A lot of lightning with it, so it's certainly going to be on the noisy side, but we do need to keep an eye, basically, on the winds within this cell. And maybe very weak rotation with this, but still below the threat levels the Weather Service thinks for this to be a severe thunderstorm warning. But I still want to keep an eye on that area that's very close to Jellicoe, right through there between Ayers, headed towards Jellicoe, Saxton area. Could be very close. We're borderline here talking about severe thunderstorm warning criteria winds of 58 miles per hour or greater. regardless, we're talking about some strong wind potential here in the early morning hours at 2:17 here on this Monday, Memorial Day Monday. But we'll keep an eye on this batch as it makes its way towards the east. There is quite a bit of rainfall, heavy rainfall, Stanfill right now northward up through Ayers. That's into southeast Kentucky and about to make its way into the Jellicoe area. So at minimum, very heavy rainfall, some gusty winds as well. Further to the south, there's some heavy rain approaching Cumberland County. That's going to drop southward. Still very heavy rain, Fentress County and Jamestown, but no warnings on this. Let's see how much lightning we're seeing across the area. There's a little bit. There's a lot of lightning there east of the Cookeville area that's dropping down into Cumberland County. So quite noisy, but no warnings on that. That's good to see. The only warnings we still have are up into southeast Kentucky. This is going to be for Knox County, Kentucky until 2:45, so about 30 minutes from now. And this cell that's in Whitley County that goes until 2:45. Special weather statement again, we'll say that's going to be for Claiborne, Union, and Campbell County. What we mean by that, below severe limits, 58 miles per hour or greater, that constitutes a severe thunderstorm warning. So it is kind of below that at this point. Checking with the Jackson, Kentucky office, they're continuing those warnings as well. No real update on what we've seen for those warnings we have up into Kentucky. So it's still ongoing for these areas. I'd say the worst part right along Interstate 75 there into Whitley County, but also up here into Knox County, Kentucky, north of Barberville. That cell will be watching as that's making its way north and east. Looks like it's going to be near Girdler around 231, Sproul 232, Hammond around 242 as well as that moves northeast. And again, that's just east of Corbin, which is where some of that potential damage from a tornado was earlier on Sunday. So another round of heavy rain and wind just moved through that area. This cell moving very quickly now, over 50 miles per hour crossing the I-75 corridor. Potentially could be seeing some winds 40 plus miles per hour. So Jellicoe right in the next few minutes, 227. High school, same time frame, Red Ash around 228. And again, moving very fast. Could be some small hail with it. These have not had a lot of hail, but this one could be having some very small hail. It's just starting to show up across the area there. And if we had any rotation at all, it would be right along the I-75 corridor as we speak, right through there. So again, puts it at Jellicoe in the next 3 minutes. A high school 224, High Cliff 226. So I don't see any tight rotation, but certainly going to be some very strong winds and some very heavy rainfall as it moves through. That pushes right along there between the Kentucky and Tennessee border. Quick check again to the south. I don't want to ignore any of these, but these are just showers into Blount County. So you may be hearing some rain on the roof, but not seeing an extreme issue with these other than just going to be downpours of rain. Meteorologist Matt Condon is here with us as well. He's going to be checking in here in just a minute, give us an update of what he's seeing. But again, heavy rainfall through Fentress County, and that is just heavy rain the way it's looking right now. Not even very strong winds. Probably, I'd guess winds maybe 35, 40 miles per hour, Matt, but heavy rainfall. I like the trend we're seeing with some of these back across the southern flank of this line, if you will, because that's where a lot of the storm fuel is still left over from this first batch that went through on Sunday, Matt. So if we continue to see these move east and they weaken, that's the best news that we can have as we go overnight tonight.
Completely agree. We just need to keep a close eye on those storms as they continue to track off to the south because like Ken mentioned, there's energy for storms to tap into if they decide to. So we're just going to have to watch as this line continues to push through our area over the next few hours. For now, we have the active severe thunderstorm warning for parts of southeast Kentucky until about 2:45 on this early Monday morning in the same areas that already dealt with storms as we went back into Sunday afternoon. And severe thunderstorm warning?
The Campbell County, yes.
The Campbell County, okay.
So that cell near Jellicoe.
Okay. So we'll keep a close eye on it, still having the potential for some winds. Okay, so there's the new severe thunderstorm warning here for portions of Campbell County, Claiborne County, as well as Union County until 3:15 on this Monday morning. So to be clear, severe thunderstorm warning, but the potential's there for winds gusting upwards of about 60 miles per hour. And we're watching it closely as there's at least some weak rotation, lower likely aloft, but the main concern with this line is going to be straight line winds that can certainly do some damage. And we've already had severe thunderstorm warnings in this exact area roughly about 12 hours ago, back Sunday afternoon. So we're keeping a close eye on this storm system. Heavy rainfall right now, likely along I-75. So here's the bend of I-75 right near Pioneer as you go northward up towards the Kentucky state line, up to Jellicoe. Heavy rainfall, especially that zone of I-75. But let me zoom in here where we start to notice the pink shading showing up. That's the potential for maybe some hail trying to reach the ground. So let me take a look at the hail path here. And even though our radar is picking up, there may be some hail falling with this storm system. So likely, if there is, it would likely be falling over I-75 right in the Jellicoe area, right along the Tennessee-Kentucky state line, headed in the direction of Morley and then Clairfield Elementary as we get closer towards Claiborne County. Again, severe thunderstorm warning in effect now until 3:15 on this Monday morning. So we're watching the potential for hail near Jellicoe, and here's some estimated times of arrival for you that I can give you. Let me get this cleaned up a little bit so it's easier to read. But then the storm track here, as we get closer to it and move this here, Newcomb by about 2:24, Oswego by about 2:24 as well. So honestly, not much time there. Jellicoe by about 2:26, also in the area of Jellicoe Elementary School. Fairview by about 2:28, and Lott by about 2:29. So this storm system, at least our computers picking up, traveling roughly 50 miles per hour, likely leading to the prompt of that severe thunderstorm warning where you start to get winds gusting 58 miles per hour or greater. That's where you have a severe wind, and that's where we can see damage. And also keeping a close eye, virtual threat index at about a 3.9, so certainly a strong storm. And our computers at least picking up that the hail size could potentially be reaching roughly an inch, but that could just be more looking at the area a bit higher up. So tough to say if that is the actual size of the hailstones that could be reaching the ground. But it's something we're just going to have to keep a close eye on, especially if you're in the Jellicoe area in the immediate future. Still seeing the potential for strong winds as well, likely from Campbell County right into portions of Whitley County. We're right between two radars. So this is the view from the radar in Morristown. Let me switch it over to the view from the radar in Jackson. There's likely some gusty winds right here in the Jellicoe area. You can see it both on both of the radars. The brighter colors, the reds and the greens coming together, so likely indicating strong straight line winds, but we're going to have to keep a close eye for quick spin-ups as this line continues to push in. A very similar situation to what we dealt with just a few hours ago. Is that a tornado warning being issued? Okay. So here we go now. We have a tornado warning now in effect, so we do need to go back on TV. So make sure we can get that set up, guys, upstairs. We need to be on TV for this tornado warning. Tornado warning in effect for Whitley County, Kentucky until 2:45 this morning, as there is indications like we were watching, the reds and the greens coming together in the exact area that dealt with a storm system roughly 12 hours ago. If you live in southern Whitley County in Kentucky, here's I-75. That's exactly where the area of concern is right now. If you live in Bell County, Kentucky, heading closer towards the Middlesboro area, it is time to call someone if you know them and wake them up. It is 2:45 in the morning on Monday, Memorial Day. We need to call people because they need to take tornado precautions right now as we have an active tornado warning in effect in southeast Kentucky for Whitley County right now. We're north of Jellicoe, outside of East Tennessee, severe thunderstorm warning in effect for northern portions of East Tennessee, Campbell County, and Claiborne counties, but a tornado warning in effect for Whitley County. And we're watching a quick spin-up tornado as this line continues to push off to the east. So that's our concern. As this storm system continues to push off, we can get these brief spin-ups, and that's why the National Weather Service in Jackson, Kentucky has prompted a tornado warning for southern Whitley County and portions of Bell County. Ken, if we can, let's send it back on over to you.
Yeah, just upstairs, let me know when we do go on air as well, please. Looks like we're still in regular programming, but just let me know. But we're going to... Okay, but we are going to stay here online as well, continue to track this storm, but just give me a shout, Chris, when we do get there. So this would be crossing Interstate 75 if there is a tornado here between Pleasant View and Red Ash. That kind of seems to be where the worst part of this storm would be, and this is going to be that tornado warning for Whitley County. until 2:45. That's currently what we're looking at as we speak. So tornado warning is going to be probably right through here, right along Interstate 75 as we speak. But the southern end of this still worth watching, right along the Jellicoe area. So between Campbell County up into southeast Kentucky, right there on the border between Whitley County. So, all right, hey, meteorologist Ken Weathers here. Just pausing here for just a second. So we're going to go on air. All right, now we're on WATE.com. Again, we have this tornado warning that's in effect right along Interstate 75 into southeast Kentucky. Seeing some broad rotation with this, but they went ahead and said it's a little, we're a little concerned about it, basically the Jackson, Kentucky office, and it makes sense. Right through here would be the area we'd be watching. It's moving east at about 40 miles per hour, so we're talking about the Frakes community at 240 and the elementary school there as well. Rain at 241, Kidwell at 243, and Pruden at 243 as well. And again, that's going to be a tornado warning for Whitley County. That goes until 2:45. They also have it a little further east for Bell County, Kentucky. And so go ahead, heads up in your area there because this is moving so quickly. I want to quickly just look. I'd say even a little further to the south, that's showing maybe a little bit of concern southeast of Jellicoe. But this entire line, I would say we need to keep an eye on as this is moving east. So if it's going at about 40 to 50 miles per hour, and I'm going to make this just a little bit wider of a track just so that we get enough areas covered here with the potential of this tornado. So again, we have a tornado warning that's in effect here. The areas right now are Whitley County, Kentucky, and over into Bell County, Kentucky. But the severe thunderstorm warning that's on the northern side of Cumberland, or Campbell County rather, and also into western sides of Claiborne County, I want to keep an eye on as this rotation is almost straddling the border. It looks like strongest winds would be right through here, right along and just east of I-75. And then also I see a little bit of rotation maybe just to the north as well for this storm that's in at least the southern part of Knox County, Kentucky. So that may be one area that we need to watch. This is kind of along that line, and we talk about this a lot. You see those little bowing segments that look like a backwards letter C, but oftentimes right along that you can also see these quick little spin-ups. And again, this is nighttime, so you're not going to be able to see it. Plus, it's very heavy rainfall, so it would be very difficult to see if there was any type of an actual tornado being produced by this. But you can see inside these clouds with Doppler radar, and that's kind of what we're noticing with this. Matt, I know you've been looking at some things as well. What are you seeing out there?
Well, I have an update from the National Weather Service in Morristown. So I'll talk about, we have different National Weather Service offices, one in Jackson, Kentucky, one in Morristown. The one in Jackson, Kentucky takes care of our southeast Kentucky counties. They're the ones that prompted this tornado warning. The National Weather Service in Morristown takes care of East Tennessee counties. Right now, they're keeping a close eye on this active tornado warning. They're expecting this storm system to stay north of the state line in Kentucky, so keeping the threat outside of Campbell County and Claiborne County, but we're going to have to watch it very closely. They have indicated, though, they're keeping a close eye as it heads through Kentucky towards southwest Virginia. So Lee County, Virginia, you want to keep a close eye on this storm system as well as it races off to the east. But we're keeping a close eye on it right now because we do have an active tornado warning in effect for southern portions of Whitley County, and also included southern portions of Knox County, Kentucky, and Bell County, headed in the direction of Middlesboro in the exact same areas that dealt with a tornado warning earlier on Sunday afternoon. We're seeing the storm systems moving through the same area, and like we talked about, not a favorable environment for strong to severe storms, but there are just still enough energy out there for these storms to produce a quick spin-up tornado, and the National Weather Service in Jackson indicated that there is at least the potential for a quick spin-up tornado along this line. That's why we have that active tornado warning in effect until 2:45 on this Monday morning. We're closely watching the reds and the greens coming together, and we can analyze what the radar is at least estimating the potential for some of these wind speeds are. gusting 30, 40, but I have seen winds at least gusting potentially upwards of about 40 to 50 miles per hour. Of course, that's just a radar estimate at this point, but we want to take this storm seriously, especially because we are in the middle of the night. I know a lot of people are likely sleeping. If you know someone who happens to live in southern portions of Whitley County in Kentucky and also in Bell County, you need to call them and wake them up. They need to be taking tornado precautions at this point, because we have an active tornado warning, a dangerous situation currently as we are in the middle of the night. You're not going to see a tornado if one is able to produce from the storm system, because there is very heavy rainfall falling. We're talking about pavement pounding rain that's likely going to add to the rain totals we've already picked up on so far this afternoon. So we're watching that storm. Yeah.
I would also keep an eye on the storm that's right on the Knox and Bell County line up there in Kentucky, just a little further north. It almost looks like maybe starting to see a little couplet develop here. There's a severe thunderstorm warning out on this, but right through here, this area kind of concerns me. This is an extreme eastern sections of this county, and that's going to be in Knox County, Kentucky. So that area right through there where the green and red are pretty close to each other, we might be starting to see just a little bit of a spin there. So this would be near Laurel Ford at 247, Beverly 250, Tackytown 253, and Lehman at 254. And also a little further to the north as well, right along that line. But I would say right through here, that would be kind of my biggest concern. We're seeing that right there, the little maroon color that's showing up right there. So just something to keep an eye on. I would make sure you're in your safe spot. They're probably going to extend this warning a little further east as well, I would imagine shortly here from southeast Kentucky. But if you live in any of these areas like Gardner, 252, Tackytown, Lehman, Beverly, Rella, you need to make sure you're in your safe spot just in case. This warning hasn't been pushed a little further to the east, but I think it could happen any minute now. Again, severe thunderstorm warnings for eastern Knox, and it would clip at least portions of Bell County, but I'd say the majority of northern Bell County could be impacted with this, and probably going to clip Harlan as well. But officially, the tornado warning is still out, and that would be right along the Whitley County border with the southwestern side of Bell County. But really the strongest winds, maybe like a little embedded circulation right through there. That would be one I would be watching right through here. That's moving east at about 45. That's going to put it near Garmedia around 240. Capito 242, Edgewood 245, and Notown around 246 as that moves east. But we'll still keep an eye right there on that possible circulation that we're kind of seeing along this line. The worst part of this, again, is right through portions of southeast Kentucky. The winds look a little less ominous now into Campbell County compared to earlier, but I'd still say we've got winds probably in that 40 to 50 mile per hour range at minimum, pushing east now towards the La Follette area. That'll be northern Union County and much of Claiborne County coming up here in the short term. I'll put a track just on this cell that we're watching that's basically right along the border here, and also this one that's just north of La Follette. That's going to be near Remy at 237, Egan 248, and Marion at 250. That's within that severe thunderstorm warning cell. And then the one that's right there on the border of Kentucky and Tennessee, that's going to be near Frakes at 240 and Capito at 245. But do want to keep an eye on that area that's a little further to the north, right through here. The green, red are right next to each other. No warning other than the severe thunderstorm warning on this, but something that's kind of captured my attention, and I'd like to keep an eye on it right through there. Yeah, we're starting to see a little bit of an uptick right through there. So it would be, again, near Tackytown, 249, Cold Iron, 251, and Sprucetown at 252. Matt, have you seen any update from the Jackson office about if they're going to extend this warning a little further to the east or not?
No immediate update right now, but I can see, Ken, that you're looking at the radar for Morristown, so yeah. I figured let's look at the one in Jackson, Kentucky, because we're looking between the two radars, and we can see, when we see the whites showing up, very strong straight line winds, if anything, right over the DeWitt community. We're in Knox County, Kentucky. This is headed to northern portions of Bell County and eventually Harlan County. Very strong straight line winds, and like Ken's talking about, we're watching the potential for a brief spin-up tornado, so keeping a very close eye on that storm system. Eastern portions at this point of Knox County in Kentucky, east of the Barberville area, but quickly moving into Bell County, just north of Pineville, eventually making its way towards Harlan County. So watching that storm system very closely as well. But we're also watching the one that has prompted an active tornado warning that also includes the southern portions of Knox County, Kentucky until 2:45, as well as Bell County, Kentucky, as the storm system continues to track further from the east. So right along the Tennessee-Kentucky state line, quickly moving east, northeast. Some estimated times of arrival for you for the storm system that has prompted a tornado warning by near Valley Creek by about 2:42, Frakes Elementary, same time, Pruden by 2:43, and Capito by about 2:47. So the storm system is traveling very quickly over towards Bell and Harlan counties, as well as Southwest Virginia. Right here is Lee County, Virginia. So we want to keep a close eye on that storm system there. We still do have the active severe thunderstorm warnings in effect back here in East Tennessee. Still seeing evidence of strong straight line winds, and that's why that has prompted the severe thunderstorm warning, and that's why it continues to remain into effect for portions of Campbell County as well as Claiborne County until about 3:15 on Monday morning. So watching all of these areas with either strong winds, the potential for a quick spin up tornado. So certainly a dangerous situation right now. Good idea to be inside and taking your tornado precautions, especially if you're in this tornado warning. So it does look like they gave us an update here on it. Still until 2:45, but notice it was trimmed back a bit back through portions of Whitley County. So now we're just talking about areas east of I-75. So if you know anyone traveling on I-75 through Whitley County, you're good to go at this point. The threat has passed the interstate, but it continues to track eastward, headed in the direction of Bell County. So if you know someone who's in Middlesboro, not a bad idea to give them a heads up that a storm system that has prompted a tornado warning a bit further to their west is headed in their direction. It is close. This storm is moving very quickly, so I think more lead time we can give people, the better. We're keeping a close eye on it, though, as there are still indications that there is at least some rotation, at least a loft. Tough to say if tornado is on the ground. We don't have confirmation at this point, but it is important that we treat it like it is on the ground, especially because the dynamics are there and it is late at night. We're not going to be able to see it. And obviously, a lot of folks are likely sleeping on this early Memorial Day. So we want to take this storm very seriously. Active tornado warning continues for roughly about the next 6 minutes at least through southern portions of Whitley County, southern portions of Knox County, and far western portions of Bell County, but headed right in the direction of Middlesboro, and a very similar path where a tornado warning was issued roughly 12 hours ago, earlier Sunday afternoon. I remember we were here tracking it, but we've been here all night keeping a very close eye on these storm systems. Continuing to watch as well near the DeWitt community in Knox County, Kentucky. The potential is there for very strong straight line winds that can do damage headed in the direction of Beverly and Pineville, especially right in that area of Bell County, Kentucky. Very strong winds, at least the potential for it. So we'll have to see if they
no update yet.
If they decide to update the warning.
6 minutes it's got left,
okay.
So we'll see.
We'll keep a close eye on it. We'll continue to keep watching the storm system while we still have that active tornado warning. We're going to stick with you here at least until the tornado warning is expired on air, but we'll continue to be online and on our app. If you need the app, just search Knoxville Weather, Google Play, and Apple App Store. If you don't have the app or have Facebook access, just turn up the volume on the TV and we'll describe the storm as best we can. But the active tornado warning, the only active tornado warning in effect for our viewing area, is in parts of southeast Kentucky for roughly the next 5 minutes, waiting on an update from the National Weather Service, but still seeing reds and the greens coming together. And that's where it really draws our attention, because we can see that there is the potential for this storm to be rotating. Strong evidence of rotation just in this latest scan. So we have the active tornado warning. It is really important that we're treating this storm seriously. Now we're in Bell
New
County.
Tornado warning coming out for Bell, Knox, Whitley, Kentucky until 3. So they're going to extend that. There it is right there.
Not surprised, because, I mean, we're seeing strong evidence of rotation there, Ken. So let's go back to you and see what you're seeing.
Yeah, exactly right, Matt. So they just re-added, or just extended, if you will, the warning here. Areas to the north, this is most likely going to be some straight line wind damage. So I know it's right on the edge here of Knox County, Kentucky, the northern part. eastern part of Knox County, Kentucky. That goes until 2:45, so 4 minutes from right now. But the main area that they're watching, they've extended this warning a little further east into Bell County, Kentucky until 3, and that's also going to kind of supersede this area as it moves out. As Matt was showing just a minute ago, there's some pretty strong rotation right through there, and you can kind of see it right through there. So I'm going to put a track on this. They've been moving very quickly. They've been moving in that range of about almost 40 to 50 miles per hour, so they don't give you much time. If a warning gets issued for your area, I want you to go ahead and get into your safe spot. This would be near the high school in Bell County at 2:48, going to be near East Pineville at 2:50, and Pineville Independent School and Pineville downtown at 2:50. So Calmer, make sure you're in your safe spot as well. Oaks, Alva could be headed your way, but the warning that we have right now, that's going to go for Bell County until 3, and it's basically right there on the west side of Bell County. So they've kind of extended that a little further to the east as well. And you can see that circulation right through there. We can take a look inside this and kind of what we've been watching right through there where that brighter maroon color shading is. That's where we're seeing some of the strongest rotation here on radar. Further to the south, that looks mainly like a straight line wind concern that's making its way through Campbell County into Claiborne County, but this would be our tight circulation right through there. And I'll zoom in just a little bit closer so we can kind of get an idea of where we're talking about. Heads up the Alcott area. There's Ingram, a little further to the east, Ferndale, Bell County High. We talked about that's going to be in your area. They're also going to be extending, I think, a little further north, that Bell, Harlan, Knox warning as well, but that's a severe thunderstorm warning, I think, the way it's looking across the area. But the strongest part of the circulation is right where we have this track now, and that's the western sections of Bell County, Kentucky. This goes until 3 o'clock in the morning, so another 17 minutes. Areas to the south, that's a severe thunderstorm warning, and we're talking about mainly just the potential for some gusty winds, maybe 50 to 60 miles per hour moving into Claiborne County now. But as you can see, you would not have any idea just by looking at radar that there is a tornado or a possible tornado there. That's why you have to look inside and you see the winds. The velocity product is what we call it, so we know which way the winds are going. With the radar that we have, basically the winds are spinning counterclockwise right here where we're looking at this, and still a little bit of shear showing up right along that entire line, really, making its way east. So something we just got to really keep a close eye on. Matt, any other updates from their Weather Service office that you've seen out of Jackson?
Just keeping a close eye. I believe that they're expiring one of the tornado warnings, but I'm thinking it's this first initial one that was issued. I am expecting the tornado warning to continue, the one that was issued until 3 o'clock. So just want to watch and see if maybe one of these polygons gets taken away. But for now, remain in your tornado shelter at this point, especially if you live in southern Bell County from Middlesboro to Pineville, still seeing evidence of the potential for some rotation with this storm system. And we want to treat it seriously as it is the middle of the night. Tornado warning in effect until 3 a.m. on this Monday morning. If you know someone who lives in southern Bell County from Pineville to Middlesboro, you need to call them. You need to wake them up. They need to take tornado precautions, getting to the lowest level of their home, put as many walls between you and the outside world as possible. All right, so we saw one of the polygons taken away. So that was the warning that they expired, but we still have an active tornado warning in effect for portions, especially in Bell County, Kentucky. So you do need to take tornado precautions at this point because this is still a serious storm system that is capable of producing a tornado. We're seeing evidence of a weak to strong rotation headed in the direction of Pineville and also Bell County High School. So if you live near these areas, you want to be taking tornado precautions immediately. Hopefully you've already done it. But also keeping a close eye on the storm system. If you live in southern Harlan County, the county line's right here. Watch this one closely. Now, this area right here, this is Lee County, Virginia. We'll have to see what the National Weather Service decides to do here, but it does look like the track of the storm system may keep it solely in Kentucky, but we want to watch it very closely. Because when we start to notice areas of potentially strong rotation, that certainly catches our eye. If you're not seeing a tornado, there's likely going to be damaging winds at a minimum. Very strong wind gusts moving through this area. Southern portions of Bell County at this point, right from Pineville to Middlesboro. So let me zoom in so we can get a few more reference points on here so you can get a better idea as to exactly what may be in the path of the storm system. So Middlesboro, right up to Bell County High School. Let's be in your tornado precaution area, executing that safety plan to Pineville, to Jensen, and Wright Forks School. Absolutely need to be taking tornado precautions if you live in southern portions of Bell County at this point. We also continue to watch very strong straight line winds just outside of the tornado warning, but moving through the northern portions of Bell County. So if you live anywhere in Bell County, good idea to be inside right now as strong winds and heavy rainfall continues to make its way through your area. So this is the view from the radar at the National Weather Service in Morristown, seeing very heavy rainfall, at least showing up here in this radar scan. And let me switch over to the radar in Jackson, Kentucky, so we can get also a good look here. I mean, where you're seeing the reds and the greens coming together, like very strong winds gusting out ahead of the storm system. That is why we have the severe thunderstorm warning, which includes most of Bell County and portions of Harlan County in Kentucky. The severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect until 3:30 Monday morning. And then we have the active tornado warning in effect until 3 a.m. for portions of Bell County in Kentucky as well. So we're going to at least have two radars to help analyze the storm so we can get a pretty good picture as to what's going on here. But still seeing the reds and the greens coming together right in the area of Pineville. So if you live in Pineville or live near it, you need to be taking tornado precautions. Hopefully you're already there as this tornado warning remains in effect. And if it's not broad rotation, tough to say if a tornado is actually on the ground. We have no confirmation that it is. We want to treat it like it is, though, getting to that lowest level of your home immediately, because it is in the middle of the night, very heavy rainfall, very dark outside. You will not see a tornado if it has headed in your direction. So watching this storm system very closely, especially in the Pineville area where we're starting to notice the reds and the greens coming together, and watching just this whole area that has prompted the tornado warning. So very strong winds, if anything, but keeping a close eye where we're starting to also see pockets of stronger shear right along this line as the storm system continues to make its way to the east. So heavy rainfall, blinding rainfall, obviously frequent lightning. This is a very loud storm, so I'm sure if people weren't woken up by the loud noise of the tornado warning coming to their phone, you're likely going to be woken up by the thunder and lightning. Ken, I think we just got to keep a close eye, especially from Pineville southward as the storm system moves through, for the opportunity for a brief spin-up tornado, hence why we have that active tornado warning in effect. Remains in effect for Bell County, Kentucky until 3 a.m. at this point. Are you hearing anything else from the National Weather Service?
The only report we had out of Morristown was that there was a tree down on I-75 back into Campbell County, a little bit closer to the border with Kentucky. But just, again, if a warning is issued in your area, like we always say, I know it can be a scary thing, but sometimes easy to remember something as simple as this. Think of duck, right? All right, you want to go downstairs, get to the lowest level of your home. You want to get under something, if at all possible, in the center of the house. You want to be away from windows. We always say put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. So again, just think of it that way. Think of duck. It's probably the best way to describe it. But again, damaging winds certainly going to be a concern with some of these storms as they move through, and then that potential tornado that we're talking about. Matt, I want you to keep an eye on that one that's just west of the Middlesboro area. There was some circulation pretty close to the border there. But I want to point out we still have this active tornado watch for everybody that goes until 6 o'clock in the morning. They trimmed back some of the counties near and north of Nashville, but they're still pretty much for our entire viewing area for now through the 6 o'clock time frame. The only warnings that we do have active, though, the severe thunderstorm warning for Claiborne County that goes until 3:15. So we've still got another 25 minutes or so on that one. And then we have this tornado warning that's for Bell County till 3 o'clock. So that's still going to last a little bit longer across the next hour or so. Looks like we have a special weather statement for Knox. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to take a just look, see what kind of storms we are seeing elsewhere. We do want to pay attention to areas to the south as well. I know we've had just scattered showers that have been popping up. It's going to be with this line most likely that's dropping through. So yeah, there it is. So that's the special weather statement that the Weather Service has issued. So Anderson County right now, it's making its way along Interstate 75. I think we need to watch this one as well. Mainly right now, just strong winds. It looks like it's going to be moving through. Heads up Disney, 257. Lake City, that's going to be in Anderson County, 258. The middle school at 259 in Medford at the top of the hour at 3 o'clock. So it's going to be clipping northern Anderson, western side of Union County, this whole line. So again, still been holding together. It's borderline severe wind, but the special weather statements that they put out, that means that it's going to be just below severe limits, but maybe winds still could be 45 to 55 miles per hour. By definition, a severe thunderstorm warning, Weather Service puts it at 58 miles per hour or greater. All right, so that's what we're seeing possibly through portions of Claiborne County. Further to the south with this little line we're now seeing develop, moving to the south through Anderson County. So Bryceville to Rocky Top, over towards Clinton. That's what we're talking about, winds maybe closer 45 to 55. But let's get back quickly. We'll talk about the tornado warning that we do have here into southeast Kentucky. Looks like it would be pretty close to the north side of Middlesboro, right through here. That would be the worst part, I'd say. So sheer right through there. Also seeing a little bit up here north. So kind of along this entire line, at least going to be some very strong winds. I would watch this little notch that we have north of Bell County High School, east of Pineville, so heads up Oaks. You're under this warning as well, but there are kind of two areas that I would want to keep an eye on. Right back through here, the one west of Middlesboro, and then the one east of Pineville. Again, you can kind of see right where this kind of goes in, and then right through there, those two areas that we need to be watching for potential rotation. So again, if they're moving east, got to kind of go east-northeast at 50. The first one we'll be talking about here, Middlesboro, the high school at 254, middle school 255, downtown at 256. Don't wait. Go ahead and get into your safe area there now as this moves to the northeast. I'd say Calmer as well, and Calvin, you need to be in your tornado safe space. Another 7 minutes before this expires, Matt, but I think they'll probably extend it. I want to keep an eye right through here as well, just southeast of Pineville, where we're seeing maybe just a little bit of rotation or an indention in this line. That's going to be near Oaks at 258, TJ 259, Black Snake 302, and Blackmont as well at that time. So Page Elementary, west side of Middlesboro. If you live in downtown Middlesboro, there's the update. I just want to make sure you're in your safe spot, but both these areas are covered by the tornado warning that we're seeing here, Matt. And look, along this entire line, we've got those little kinks now starting to show up across the area, Matt.
Absolutely, Ken. Also keeping a very close eye on the storm system that's moving through portions of Claiborne County. And the last one or two scans, starting to notice evidence of some stronger rotation. We're going to have to watch the trend of this storm system. There is an active severe thunderstorm warning in effect, no tornado warning in effect in East Tennessee or in Claiborne County. But we're watching very closely because in the last scan or two, this has jumped up a bit. So watching as it continues to push off to the east, more data can come in. But let me put this in more of a loop. You can see where the maroons has started to show up just the last one or two scans as it continues to push into portions of Claiborne County. So watching that one very, very closely, especially in Claiborne County right now. No active tornado warning, just a severe thunderstorm warning. But we're starting to see the maroon showing up, strong rotation at least aloft, keeping a very close eye on that storm system. As more data comes in, we'll get each scan every few minutes, but just the last one or two scans really has jumped up and caught my attention even more so. So watching that one very closely in Claiborne County. We also continue to watch, like we're seeing, strong rotation, at least aloft in Claiborne County, strong rotation in portions of Bell County, and that's where we have an active tornado warning for roughly the next 5 minutes, but still seeing pockets of stronger rotation right along this line as it continues to push off towards the east very quickly, where we see the reds and the greens coming together. I mean, this is where if you're going to have a tornado be produced from the storm system, you can get it in these little kinks, even back in further portions of the county. We're just going to have to watch the whole
Knox
line.
and Whitley, Matt,
Okay.
by the way.
So some good news there. It's mainly just centered in Bell County, Kentucky. But if you live in Harlan County, pay close attention to the storm system. If you live in Lee County, Virginia, also pay close attention to the storm system. Ken, are you keeping a close eye on the storm in Claiborne County as well?
I am, and this is definitely, you can see right because the red and greens are right next to each other, certainly indicative of very strong winds. There's going to be a damaging wind threat potential with this as this whole line moves to the east. So these communities, we're talking about Collins Mill 306, Big Barron 313, Cup Mill the same time, and Combs at about 315. But I want to keep an eye on this because what we've seen, there's some very strong shear. So the potential that we could see a quick little turning motion or spin up along this line. I know this warning goes until 3:15, another 20 minutes from now, but I got a feeling they're going to extend this a little further to the east. I would say Tazewell, New Tazewell area, let's make sure you're in your safe spot just in case, because again, at minimum, we're going to see a damaging wind threat with this as it pushes to the east. I would say even Lee County, Virginia, you'll want to be kind of moving into your safe spot at minimum as what's left of this rotating possibly rotating storm that we've had into southeast Kentucky moves to the east. But I'm more concerned with this line that's making its way through Claiborne County, at least the western half. You can see where this bright red is showing up. So again, a couple more communities, we'll look at it again. Speedwell, that's 259. That's going to be there into Claiborne County. Also, we want to take a look at Goen. It's 311. Lily Grove at 312. Carr Branch 314 and Combs at 316 as this moves east. I wanted to show you we're still also keeping an eye on this line of showers and storms. I know it's quite noisy. Looks like a new severe thunderstorm warning is coming for Knox County, Matt. So I think what they're going to do is they're just going to warn along this entire line. And they're probably concerned that we're going to be seeing the potential anyway for some damaging winds. So in any second now, there's the new warning that's just been replaced. So it'll replace the special weather statement that they had, but this is going to include Knox County till 3:45, Union County as well, and western sections of Granger County. They haven't extended the area into Claiborne County yet. I would think that they would, and then my guess is since they put out this warning, Matt, they're probably going to just extend this whole northern edge of the line. The southern edge doesn't look quite as potent, I will say, but I do want to show you what it looks like, the heavy rainfall that we have in Cumberland County right now. We've been watching the camera there, and this is what it looks like. I think I've got it right here. I think it's the first one. And this is what it looks like right now in Crossville. Camera is actually frozen a bit because of the rain and the gusty winds that we've had there. So we'll keep an eye on this one. Let's see if I can get it going again real quick before I send it back to Matt. It may have taken a lightning strike, actually, or a power hit earlier, but just pointing out that that's not severe there, but certainly some very gusty winds. Downtown Knoxville, we're looking west, so we'll keep an eye on this line, Matt, that's going to be coming into the area that just issued that new severe thunderstorm warning again that will include the northern half of Knox County. This goes until 3:45, but still need to keep an eye up there into Kentucky as well with that line that's making its way close to Middlesboro.
Absolutely, Ken. And those severe thunderstorm warnings that were just issued, important to note, they have a tornado possible tag on them. So we want to keep a close eye on all this entire line as it pushes off to the east. Let me zoom in here because I am just noticing something in portions of Claiborne County where we start to notice at least the cylinder showing up. It indicates maybe some stronger rotation. We're analyzing this one together. Like we've been talking about, still a severe thunderstorm warning in effect. If you're not seeing rotation, there's likely going to be straight line winds that can certainly do damage, moving through portions of Claiborne County right now and headed in the direct and also down into Union County. So from Union County up to Claiborne County, this line right here, the likely a damaging wind threat, if anything, but the potential's there for some rotation at least aloft. Well, some good news there, and Ken, correct me if I'm wrong, it looks like they canceled that tornado warning in portions of Bell County. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm looking now. It looks like they did expire it just now here at the top of the hour at 3 o'clock. And by the way, it's 3 a.m. You're watching WATE6 on your side. We're doing continuing coverage here as a line of thunderstorms moves across the viewing area. The tornado warning that we just had earlier for Bell County, Kentucky, that has expired, but we still have active severe thunderstorm warnings that extend from Claiborne County all the way down now, as you can see, from North Knox all the way up into Union, the western side of Granger County. But Matt, this whole line, what I will say is make sure you turn off those base velocity shear markers for you. Just keep the storm relative velocities up. So this line that we're seeing right through here that's going through Claiborne County, minimum, we're talking winds maybe 60 miles per hour, the way it's looking. Thankfully, I don't see anything along this line that's showing that we have any type of a couplet or a spin up, but I think that certainly could be a possibility with this line as it continues to move east. But at minimum, look how strong the winds are, just showing right through that area. So that's going to be a concern. We'd be talking about some trees, power lines coming down. No update. There's the latest scan there. No update as to whether they're going to extend this next 14 minutes or so. But Matt, I'd be shocked if they didn't extend this a little further to the east. So definitely a heads up. The New Tazewell area, TNT, it's headed in your direction very soon. So I want you to make sure you're in your safe spot. Clouds at 318, Duo 320, Barron, ahead of Barron 320, and Snodgrass 321, as this is going to race to the east. We've seen it moving at almost 50 miles per hour. And so anytime you have storms that have that kind of forward motion, even at that speed, you can see winds of those speeds at 50 miles per hour. So I think that's certainly going to be a possibility as that moves off towards the east. Also want to keep an eye back towards the west as well. There are still some storms back towards Middle Tennessee, but they're further to the south. So these are kind of making their way through northern Alabama. But as this entire line continues to drop south across the plateau and Southern Valley, there's still quite a bit of fuel down through these areas that we're going to have to keep a close eye on. Matt, no warnings for Cumberland, Bledsoe, Ray, or Meigs County, not even Roane at this point. That's at this point going to be some very heavy rainfall and maybe winds in that 30 to 40 range. Strongest winds are definitely going to be with this cell right through here for Claiborne County. I'm going to get in touch with the Weather Service real quick to see what their thoughts are at extending this, Matt. But I would say anywhere from the TNT area of Tazewell, New Tazewell, you need to make sure you're in your safe spot just in case these winds look very strong as they continue to move to the east. Matt?
Absolutely, completely agree, Ken. Very strong winds headed in the direction of New Tazewell in Claiborne County. But then we'll watch to see. Ken will find out if they decide to expand the severe thunderstorm warning. Western portions of the county remain under severe thunderstorm warning until about 3:15. Likely, though, they are going to need to expand this warning. We continue to watch the storms in southeast Kentucky as well. Still the potential for some damaging winds, but thankfully that tornado warning has been allowed to expire. That was in effect for portions of southern Bell County. So some good news there, but still there is the risk for damaging winds, and that is a concern as well, which certainly can knock down trees and result in power outages. So straight line winds starting to reach eventually southwest Virginia. Here's Lee County, Virginia, and also in Harlan County in Kentucky, where a severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect until 3:30 this morning. So keeping a very close eye on this storm system as well. There's at least still evidence of maybe some broad rotation, especially aloft from Harlan County down through Bell County and into portions of Claiborne County. No active tornado warnings in effect right now, but we want to watch these storms closely. There also is heavy rain with them and obviously frequent lightning. Another round of heavy rainfall in addition to what we've already picked up today and over the last couple of days certainly could aggravate flooding concerns. So that's something we're going to have to watch as we go throughout the morning. So if you're traveling, especially later this morning, just be mindful of flood-prone, low-lying areas, and if there's any debris in the roadways. You want to keep a close eye on the roads as you're driving, especially as we go throughout the day. Still seeing the reds and the greens coming together, indicating very strong winds that can potentially be doing some damage. I do think at this point, likely the strongest storm is moving through portions of Claiborne County. Looks like straight line wind concerns, especially with this storm system moving to Arthur and eventually to New Tazewell through portions of Claiborne County. So active severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Claiborne County until 3:15. Ken's going to find out if they decide to extend this warning. But we also have the severe thunderstorm warning, and likely you may have been woken up by it if you live in Anderson County, so from Norris to Rocky Top to Clinton and down to Oak Ridge. over to Knoxville, up to Halls and Maynardville and Luttrell and Union County, and over into portions of Granger County as well. So headed in the direction of Blaine, and then into just about the county line of Jefferson County. So it doesn't look like Jefferson County is included in the severe thunderstorm warning, goes right to the county line, but eventually the storm system will be headed in your direction.
Says they're most likely going to extend that to Claiborne, Matt.
Okay, so we'll see it coming in together. Still have that warning in effect until at least 3:15, so there is some time for them to analyze some of the data, but we'll still be treating that storm system very seriously. But heavy rainfall right now along I-75 through Anderson County, quickly making its way to Knox County, and obviously frequent rumbles of thunder. So it's likely a lot of people in this area are about to be woken up by this very noisy storm that's really moving through Anderson County into Union County and Claiborne County at this hour. So heavy rainfall and the potential for gusty winds that can certainly knock down trees and result in power outages. And it does look like we still have the evidence of very strong winds, especially on the northern end of the storm system, especially north of Knox County, moving into portions of Claiborne County. And like Ken mentioned, they're likely going to expand this severe thunderstorm warning a bit further to the east. So strong winds right now moving through Claiborne County, but headed in the direction of Hancock County. So eventually making its way towards Sneedville and Kyles Ford as well. So we can continue to analyze this storm together. Heavy rainfall. Okay, so there's the new severe thunderstorm warning. So now it's in effect until 4 a.m. on this Monday morning for eastern portions of Claiborne County, also including, like we mentioned, Hancock County, Sneedville, also in Southwest Virginia, Lee County, Virginia, until 4 a.m. for Jonesville. And it does look like it includes the northern portions of Granger County as well, so to Bean Station.
Keep an eye on that orange skit there as well, that sheer skit that's showing up.
We'll watch it too, because I mean, still there's evidence, at least there could be some rotation aloft. Now, we don't have that active tornado warning in effect. We have an active severe thunderstorm warning, but likely the severe thunderstorm warning has the tornado possible tag. All the ones that they've been issuing, they've been putting on that tag. So it's capable of producing a tornado, and it would be a brief spin up along that line. So each radar scan is vital to tell what is going on exactly with this storm system. For now, I would say it looks like primarily a damaging wind threat. That is our main concern as we go through the morning, but we're just going to have to keep a close eye. Each radar scan that comes in will give us a better picture as to what exactly is going on in this storm system. But the main concern is really strong winds here. When you're seeing the greens, it's winds going towards the radar, which is based in Morristown. So you have the wind direction coming towards the radar, and that's very strong winds gusting out of that line that is producing heavy rainfall and frequent lightning and rumbles of thunder.
Tazewell, New Tazewell area, just keep an eye on that, Matt.
Yeah, so we're still watching at least the evidence of some stronger rotation, but just some estimated times of arrival for you. I headed into the clouds area by about 3:15 this morning, New Tazewell by about 3:21. I think the storm system is moving faster than even this storm track is giving. So, Ken, would you be able to put a storm track on there to give people a better idea as to when this storm may start to reach their area?
Yeah, and a quick update as well. Fentress County's been cleared from the tornado watch, so the severe threat in Fentress County and north and west of there, so Putnam County as well, back towards Cookeville. The threat has ended, but continues elsewhere across the region. And it makes sense. Again, that's certainly what we're going to be watching. So again, let's take a look, closer look. Very strong winds going right through here. Lily Grove, Tazewell, New Tazewell area, Chestnut Ridge, Bacchus down to Chittum. That is really strong winds, and somewhere along there we could easily be talking about a quick spin up type tornado. So I want to make sure everybody's in their safe spot. Lily Grove, just east of there, is where the worst part of this circulation would be. So putting a track on this area, we're talking about New Tazewell 321, Bacchus 322, TNT, the primary school at 322. So right from there, we're talking about Forge Ridge as well. This is a severe thunderstorm warning, but Matt mentioned they put the possible tag on it. Look at the brighter yellow. We're starting to see some extreme rotation showing up on this. So Matt certainly is grabbing my attention, this whole line, as this is going to be making its way towards the east. So New Tazewell right about now, heads up Cave Spring. I want you in your safe spot. I'd say even up towards Beech Grove. So this is going to be right in the extreme northern sections, right on the border between Granger County and also into Claiborne County. So north of Rutledge, Bald Point, all these areas. I want you to be in your safe spot. I don't like the look of this line as it's moving to the east, Matt. Minimum right there in the New Tazewell area as we speak, some extremely strong winds. And again, seeing very strong extreme shear showing up right along that line east of Big Barren near New Tazewell. So again, I know that it says it's only a severe thunderstorm warning, but at minimum, we're talking winds 60 miles per hour or greater over a wide area that we're talking about. And they put that potential tornado tag at the end of it. And what they mean is, yes, it's a severe thunderstorm warning, but at any point we could see a possible tornado produced by this. Matt, anything else that you've seen with this system?
Well, I'm keeping a close eye on it too, Ken. Very strong winds, but you can see we have the area that looks like possibly some rotation, but it's a little bit ahead of at least the image that we can see reflectivity. So it's a little bit further ahead of where the storm is. So that's why it indicates to me this is likely straight line winds. Now, we're keeping a close eye to potentially see a quick spin up, but I think there are very strong winds headed in the direction of New Tazewell and portions of Claiborne County. So we're just going to have to watch it very closely as it continues to push off towards the east. I mean, when we're starting to see the reds and the greens coming together, like we've talked about, indicates some areas of rotation, but so it would be in the area of clouds, but then we switch back over to the reflectivity. See how the reflectivity is a little bit further to the west, so it doesn't really match up. That's why I think we're starting to see those winds gusting out ahead of the rain, and that's why we're primarily dealing with a damaging wind threat at this point. But we're going to just have to watch it very closely because you can get a quick spin-up tornado along this line. But at this point, the reflectivity a little bit further to the west of clouds, and when you switch back over to the winds, notice the winds right over clouds. So it looks like damaging winds, especially headed right in the direction of New Tazewell,
Chestnut
portions
Ridge
of Claiborne County, and really an increase there. So let me query this. So let's see what the radar is estimating. I mean, 65 mile per hour winds potentially reaching the ground at this point. Certainly can do damage, certainly can knock down trees. You definitely want to take this storm seriously. Good idea to just be in your safe place, away from windows, and let this storm system pass. It's moving very quickly. It is going to quickly clear the region, but we're just going to have to watch it very closely as some strong winds are still moving in the direction through portions of Claiborne County. But again, the strong winds don't really match up with the reflectivity, so that's why I think we're primarily dealing with a straight line wind event. But very strong winds right now headed in the direction of Chestnut Ridge. Here's New Tazewell. Tazewell, New Tazewell, and Chestnut Ridge. Very strong winds in this area headed towards Mason Springs. We're in Claiborne County where an active severe thunderstorm warning is in effect until 4 a.m. on this Monday morning. So over 45 minutes still to go on this one. Very strong winds right in this area, potentially gusting between 60 to 70 miles per hour. At least that's what the radar is estimating, at least aloft. And those winds potentially reaching the surface can certainly be doing some damage in this area. So still seeing evidence of at least some rotation, maybe aloft in the clouds. But I do think we continue to deal with a straight line wind event. So we can put this radar in motion here, watching this storm system together, trying to analyze it over the last few minutes or so. A big jump in the potential for really strong winds, especially from clouds headed in the direction of Chestnut Ridge, where we start to notice the whites showing up. Very strong, potentially damaging straight line winds moving through portions of Claiborne County at this hour. So let me stop this here so we can get a live view as to what's going on. Moving through, is this a new tornado warning, Ken?
Let's see.
Tornado warning now for portions of Claiborne County.
It's going to be right where that cell is, Matt. And again, you were talking about just a second ago, this little feature that we're watching, it was seeing upper level rotation, but the Weather Service went ahead and they are seeing kind of what we're seeing, that potential of a tornado. Now that they've issued this tornado warning, this is going to be for Hancock and Claiborne County. This goes until 4 o'clock. We've been watching this for a long time now. This tight rotation possible in this area. So right over the New Tazewell area as we speak right now. We're talking about now at 317. Don't wait. You should be in your safe spot. Walter State Community College 318, the Alpha School as well, and Soldiers Memorial Middle. It's going to be moving in your direction. So don't take time. Make sure you're in your safe spot now. At minimum, as Matt was showing, these winds are just, they're screaming right through there. We're going to be easily some 60 to 70 mile per hour winds right over the Chestnut Ridge area. And again, you can kind of see we got some upper level rotation, and then this orange skit that shows up here lets us know that it's seeing that shear as well. In fact, look how it's moving. It's showing it's moving northeast at 80 miles per hour. That cell, that's pretty impressive to be seeing that for this type of system. And again, we've been watching this for a while, showing the potential anyway for seeing some rotation with this, and it's really grabbed our attention. So again, we're talking about Tazewell right about now, 315. You need to be in your safe area. Walter State Community College, 318. Matt, what do you got?
I need you to look at the shear in the area of Chestnut Ridge, because we're starting to see evidence of potentially extreme rotation. So we're looking at this area right here. Let me switch back to the storm relative velocity. Reds and the greens coming together, and like we were talking about, now it's starting to match up more with the reflectivity. That's why we have the active tornado warning. So the storm is here. We're looking at the winds in the area of Chestnut Ridge. We're seeing that there's evidence of a potentially extreme rotation. This is lining up. If we are going to see a tornado with this storm system for this active tornado warning, it is right in the area of Chestnut Ridge at this hour. Active tornado warning in effect. You need to be taking tornado precautions at this hour. If you live in Tazewell, New Tazewell, I would also be in your tornado safe place at this point. This looks like it's right along highway, and of course the banner here, Chestnut Ridge, is in the way. It looks like maybe Highway 35E, if I'm reading that correctly, right in the area of Chestnut Ridge. If you live in Chestnut Ridge, I need you to be in your safe place, because we're seeing evidence of shear, the reds and the greens coming together, and like we talked about when it looked like the winds were out ahead of the storm system, they're now right with it.
Hey,
and
Matt,
maybe seeing some inflow there. Yeah, let's go
one
back
thing
to
I do want to keep an eye on as well, I'm wondering if we're starting to see just a little bit of debris possibly here being shown by radar right through there, because it lines up pretty much just where that shear would be. So I want to keep an eye on another scan of this to see if we're seeing that here. If that's the case, then we could be talking about a tornado that has touched down in this area. But regardless, I want to make sure you're in your safe spot, please. Extreme rotation, as you mentioned, between Bacchus and New Tazewell right now as this storm's moving east. And if we saw this debris, since the storm's moving so quickly, it would be getting lofted and pushed well ahead of where that circulation would be. So that's something I'm keeping a very close eye on. But again, this tornado warning right through here, Matt, it's up to a 7. A VTI of 7. Anytime you see that number over about 5, that is very, very concerning. So this really has grabbed my attention for sure. Riverside, 323, Gibson Hall, 324, Tazewell. You need to be in your safe area as we speak right now. Again, what I was seeing with this is the little drop, we call it, in the correlation coefficient. Basically, it can see the possibility of debris showing up on the radar scan, and it lines up pretty close just ahead of where that shear would be, Matt. And this is the highest we've seen of this virtual threat index of a 7. And it's moving east-northeast at 72, so you don't have much time. So Alanthus Hill, as you're talking about up towards Hancock County, Big Creek, you need to be in your safe spot. Gibson Hall, Ritchie, you need to be in your safe spot as this continues to move rapidly to the east. Looks like maybe even the southern edge of this, we're starting to see a little bit of a rotation as well, but it would be right through here, Matt. That definitely between New Tazewell and Bacchus. So Ritchie, Gibson Hall, Alanthus Hill, Big Creek, you have to be in your safe area now as the storm is continuing to move to the east. Again, there is that potential, maybe at least. I'm going to put this into motion so you can kind of see what I'm talking about right there, that light blue that just showed up. Maybe we're talking about a little debris signature that's showing up from this. We'll see. I want another scan of that to be sure, but regardless, we need to follow this storm very closely. Soldiers Memorial Middle, 320. Cave Spring, 322. Old Fork, 324. Gibson Hall at 325. Again, there is a severe thunderstorm warning for Knox County as well, but I want to keep more a close eye on this cell that's basically in Claiborne County as we speak. All right. Again, Weather Service still keeping a very close eye mainly on that cell as well as it's making its way between Bacchus and New Tazewell, Matt. Anything else that you've seen with this storm? Definitely the strongest of the one we've seen even from yesterday up to now at this point.
Yeah, absolutely, Ken. I think this is a serious situation on this early morning. It is 3:20 in the morning. Active tornado warning in effect for Claiborne County until 4 a.m. If you know someone who lives in Claiborne County, or if you know someone who lives in Hancock County, let's say from Sneedville to the northwest, you need to call them and you need to wake them up. They need to take tornado precautions. This storm is racing off towards the northeast. It is moving very quickly. We want to give people as much warning as possible. So portions of Hancock County also underneath this tornado warning, and that's also the case for Lee County, Virginia. Until 4 a.m. on this Monday morning, you need to take tornado precautions at this hour. It's time to get up. It's time to get to the lowest level of your home, put as many walls between you and the outside world as possible. It is imperative that you do so right now, as we have this storm system that is capable of producing a tornado. At one point, we had areas of extreme rotation. There's still strong rotation. So this storm system moving through portions of Claiborne County, where we're seeing the reds and the greens coming together right in the area of Chestnut Ridge, potentially producing a tornado. And that's why we have the active tornado warning. If it's not producing a tornado, there are strong straight line winds. We queried it just a few minutes ago, gusting 60 to 70 miles per hour. And that certainly could do damage aside from producing a tornado. But we're watching it very closely, noticing the reds and the greens coming together here, evidence of strong rotation as well. And let me check the reflectivity and matching up with the storm system. So this is a serious situation currently in portions of Claiborne County, where an active tornado warning remains in effect until 4 a.m. This morning. We're going to watch it very closely. We are streaming on Facebook, on our app. Search Knoxville Weather, Google Play or Apple App Store. Take your phone, take your tablet with you to your safe place, and we will keep you posted on exactly where this storm is headed. But it is moving very quickly towards the north and east.
Hey, so, Matt, keep an eye on the area just south of that rotation as well, maybe between Beech Grove, so southern Claiborne County, just outside the tornado warning. But something we need to watch, that area kind of between north of Beech Grove, Raven Hill area.
Still, yeah, I would suspect
right
strong winds at a minimum, but let's see. Let's look at that. Still seeing evidence, strong rotation as well, outside of the tornado warning, but technically still in the severe thunderstorm warning also until 4 a.m. Watching this storm system very closely as well and checking to see if everything lines up. Likely out ahead of the storm system, so very strong winds potentially.
Starting to get a little bit of an upper level shear marker there too, by the way.
Absolutely. So this is a serious storm, one that we want to take very seriously as it continues to track off towards the north and east very quickly. I mean, we're seeing the reds and the greens coming together. If you're going to see a tornado with the storm system, it would be where the reds and the greens come together in Claiborne County, head in the direction of Gibson Hall. You need to be in your tornado safe place at this exact moment. Still seeing evidence of strong rotation, and that pocket of strong rotation goes further down into Claiborne County, outside of the tornado warning at this point, but watching for the potential for damaging straight line winds as well, which certainly obviously can do damage. So we're watching this entire line that continues to push very quickly off towards the east. So we have the active tornado warning. If you're just joining us, active tornado warning for portions of Claiborne County until 4 o'clock on this Monday morning. That also is included for portions of Hancock County and Lee County in Virginia. In the direction this storm system will be headed to Southwest Virginia. So keeping a very close eye on it. So it does look like the tornado warning continues. They have trimmed back the severe thunderstorm warning. So the primary threat with this storm system is now getting a little bit further to the east of a New Tazewell at this point, but it would be a good idea just to remain in your safe place at this point, because there's still going to be lots of lightning, lots of thunder. But where we're seeing the reds and the greens come together, this is the area of most concern right now. We're in Claiborne County, headed in the direction of Ritchie as well, just north of Caney Valley to Big Creek. And Big Creek would be in Hancock County. So if you live in Big Creek, Hancock County, you need to be in your safe place. If you live near Sycamore School, near Hancock County, be in your safe place. Reds and the greens coming together, and still seeing evidence of stronger rotation. So watching this storm system very closely as it continues to push off towards the east very quickly as well. A virtual threat index of a 7.5, at least on this skit. So that is a serious storm, a serious situation.
And it's the southern part of that that's not officially under the tornado warning.
Yeah, that's exactly also where the shear marker is showing up. So we got to watch this storm very closely. We would prefer that you are taking tornado precautions at this point if you are anywhere near this storm system. because it is a serious one, and at any moment it has the capability of producing a tornado, and we want you to be in your safe place before this storm ever was to reach you. So you really do need to take your tornado precautions, especially now if you live east of New Tazewell. Folks in Tazewell should still be in their tornado shelters as well. If you live towards Howard Quarter, be in your safe place, because we're still seeing evidence of rotation with the storm system, and we will continue to get updated scans every few minutes from the radar.
New tornado warning going to be for Claiborne, Granger, Hancock, Hawkins, Lee. So it's going to be along
let me
that
send it back to you so we can get a
line.
look at that one.
Yeah, okay. I wanted to cover this.
Okay.
The heavy rain that's making its way into the Embassy Suites hotel camera. This is in downtown Knoxville. So we have a severe thunderstorm warning out for Knox County as well. It's going to be for the north and west side. So you can see from Farragut all the way northward. Here's the new warning that they've issued that Matt's been showing you. So this will kind of replace the old one as the center of circulation with the greatest rotation that we're seeing. It's a little bit further to the south now. So right over, I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer here. So right through here, east of New Tazewell, Raven Hill to Ritchie, Big Creek, Bald Point. This is that tornado warning that goes until 4:15. So this is kind of extended all the way out. They're going to watch this whole line, if you will, continue to track towards the east. So I'll put a track on this, and what we're looking at right now, TNT Primary School right about now. Looks like it's near Claiborne County High School right about now. Chittum 328, Mason Springs 331, Springdale at 331. And again, this is the highest virtual threat index, we'll call it, that we've seen on this storm here throughout the day today. I'd say the northern part of that tornado warning not looking quite as pronounced, and that's probably why they painted the one further to the south, and it's going to kind of overwrite it. So it's kind of taking over, I guess you would say, that warning. So let's go right through here. We're going to move it quickly. It's moving over 50 miles per hour. So right through here, Howard Quarter at 328, Bray 333, Xenophon around 333, Sycamore School the same time frame, Ramsey 336, and Sunnyside at 336 as well. So again, we're still seeing that rotation. It would be right there east of the New Tazewell area. I'll zoom in a little bit. We've got extremely heavy rain here at our studios, but thankfully we have our generator on, so hopefully we will stay on air. But between Ritchie, Caney Valley, that's where the strongest rotation is. Bray, Big Creek, Duck Creek, Luther, Treadway, Sneedville. This is going to be over into Hancock County. We need to make sure you're in your safe area as well. So right on the Claiborne and Hancock County border. That's what we're looking at right through here. So this is Claiborne and this is Hancock. So put it into perspective. So Big Creek to Bray, we need to make sure you're in your safe spot. Still seeing that rotation lock there showing up. And this tornado warning, the new one, just got extended across the area. And it really is showing up as some of the strongest rotation and shear that we've seen with these storms since we came on again here several hours ago. But again, if this is moving northeast at 55, let's put it there. We're talking about Howard Quarter 329, Sycamore School 334. Looks like Seal Mathis Elementary, that's at about 338. So this is going to be making its way over into Hancock County. And this warning again extended until 4:15. So you're hearing heavy rainfall over our roof. That is a severe thunderstorm warning for the northern half of Knox County up into Union County, and that's with this storm right through here. But this is mainly heavy rainfall. I'm not seeing any rotation with this to the south, just most likely heavy rain and gusty winds. Worst part of the storm, Matt, is still right through there. Looks like we have a new extension of the severe thunderstorm warning, and they're just going to warn along this entire line as it comes through. Let me quickly show you what we're talking about. I'm going to clear everything out. So this entire line now, as it comes through Knoxville over towards Dandridge, Morristown, so Hamlin, Jefferson, Northern, Sevier, they're going to warn along this entire line as these gusty winds push through. That'll be the potential for some damaging wind gusts. This cell is the one we're keeping an eye on for the potential of a tornado across the area. At minimum, we're still seeing that strong shear showing up right through here, and this tornado warning for Hancock and eastern Claiborne County goes until 4:15. Looks like I'm going to look at some extreme shear just south of this.
That would be in Granger County. It does look like maybe strong straight line winds in that area that you just put that storm track on at a minimum. But that would be in Granger County at this point.
And it's riding right along the border of that warning. So regardless, even if it's just a severe thunderstorm warning, as Matt mentioned, they put that tag at the end of the warning saying that, hey, a tornado is possible at any point with some of these storms, and that would make sense as we're seeing that extreme rotation right through there. This is west of Bean Station and Bald Point. It's going to put it near Bald Point at 331, Bray 333, Mooresburg Springs at 337, Treadway 338, and Yountown at about 338 as well. But that's some of the strongest wind shear that we've seen show up across the area with that storm. Not too far from the radar site there in Morristown as well. So right through there, and then you can see the very strong winds where we're still getting that shear marker showing up across the higher elevations. So that's going to be near Yellow Springs 340, Big Creek 343, and Sycamore School at 344. So a couple of areas that we're watching. At minimum, we're talking about winds could be gusting over 60 miles per hour between Idle and Bald Point. Heads up Bean Station. Let's go ahead and get into your safe area as well. Now back towards the west, the severe threat looks to be over with for the short term here back into Campbell County and western Claiborne County. We're doing okay. This is mainly going to be areas to the east, Matt, as this continues to make its way also into Granger, and we'll say heads up Hamblin County as well as this storm continues to track to the east.
Absolutely, Ken. I wanted to give you some estimated times of arrival for you where we have the storm system that's capable of producing a tornado. We have the active tornado warning headed in the direction from Claiborne County to Hancock County. So if you live near Luther by about 3:45, so you have some time, it's time to execute your safety plan, getting to the lowest level of your home, put as many walls between you and the outside world as possible. If you live by Treadway by about 3:47, but in the immediate, we're watching areas near Howard Quarter and Big Creek headed in that direction very shortly. And we're still seeing, we just have to watch this line very closely. If straight line winds, but when we start to see the reds and the greens coming together like we talked about, I mean, there's still evidence of rotation, potentially strong rotation, especially near Fairview. So we're kind of meeting counties together. So right here, we have Claiborne County. Right here is Hancock County. And then where the extreme rotation would be, this is Granger County. So we're right in the area where Claiborne County, Hancock County, and Granger County all come together. And it's in this area where potentially extreme rotation, but we're still seeing strong rotation that stretches up into portions of Claiborne County, which prompted the initial tornado warning. But we have an active tornado warning in effect, especially for portions of Claiborne and Hancock counties until 4:15 this morning. And still seeing the potential for some rotation with this storm system. We just have to keep looking at the different components of the storm. So there's likely going to be at least very strong winds with the storm system that certainly can do some damage as well, knocking down trees, knocking down power lines, and resulting in power outages. So we do want to treat it very seriously, but you need to be taking tornado precautions as an active tornado warning is in effect on this early Monday morning for portions, especially of Claiborne County, Hancock County, and northern Granger County, right in the area of Fairview to Bald Point to Big Creek and over towards Duck Creek and Sneedville as well. If you live in Sneedville, I need you to be taking tornado precautions at this hour. There's some time, but this storm system is quickly headed in your direction. There's heavy rainfall with this storm. Watching this area really, really closely. Maybe some inflow with it, where you start to notice some kinks with this reflectivity. That's where we know there's at least strong winds. And just this line, the dynamics are there for a very quick spit-up tornado on this line. So we just have to watch it closely. And like I mentioned a few minutes ago, just taking it scan by scan as it continues to travel off to the east. So watching, especially in the area of Bald Point, but notice very strong winds. I mean, look at all the bright greens. This is very strong straight line winds moving through portions of Hancock County, headed right in the direction of Sneedville. And that continues up through portions of southwest Virginia. Here's Lee County, Virginia, and Jonesville right here. So very strong winds also with this storm system, even further towards the northeast. But the area of most concern right now, and we just got a new scan in, so we'll continue to analyze this new one together. I'm watching this area in Bald Point right here. This is an interesting radar scan that just came in. Extreme rotation right here in the area of Bald Point, and then we're seeing the reds and the greens coming right together right here. And let me look at the reflectivity as well. Matches up here. Strong winds right here. The reds and the greens practically touching right in the area of Bald Point. And we're seeing very strong shear as well. I think this is a serious situation right now. If you live in Bald Point, I need you to be in your tornado shelter immediately because there's evidence of extreme rotation And I don't like this radar scan with the reds and the greens practically touching right here.
Yeah.
We want to keep a close eye on that area specifically, Ken.
It's right on the border there between Claiborne and Hancock County that we're watching, Matt. So it's coming out of Claiborne, and that's the northern sections of Granger County. So it's right where Granger, Claiborne, and Hancock counties meet. You mentioned Bald Point, so Luther, Treadway. Let's make sure you're in your safe area as well as this continues to make its way northeast. And what's been impressive is just how quickly these storms have been moving. They're moving over 50 miles per hour, getting close to 60 miles per hour. So you really don't have a lot of time when these warnings are issued. Bray, you should already be in your safe spot. It's there within a minute. Luther, Duck Creek, you need to be in your safe spot. Luther 342, Duck Creek 344, Cloud Creek 347 as it moves through. Another thing, you're hearing some heavy rainfall here on our roof. That could be problematic as some street flooding in some spots. We had a lot of rain with the past couple of rounds that have gone through the area, and that is going to be a concern, the potential for some flooding in some spots. So watch out if you're going to be traveling out early this morning. New scans should be coming in any second now, and we'll get an update and probably see this move very quickly out of the northern section there of Granger County into at least the western and southern sections of Hancock County. But again, it's right on the border there between Hancock, Granger, and Claiborne counties. It's moving to the east. I'd say back to the west, Hopewell, Gibson, Hall, Ritchie, the severe threat, New Tazewell. Severe threats out of your area for now, but we're seeing it kind of develop a little further down along this line. But again, very strong rotation north of Fairview. Again, should be getting that new scan in any second. But this active tornado warning does continue. This is going to go until 4:15, so at minimum, another 30 plus minutes across the area if this continues the way it's been going. And it's been pretty impressive, Matt, seeing this whole line come through. I do want to show you kind of a wider perspective real quick so you can get a look. Severe thunderstorm warning is in North and East Knox County, pushing east over into Granger and into Hamlin County. But the main areas that we've been watching, of course, now making its way into Hancock County. This is heavy rainfall, potential for some flooding, but these are what we call special weather statements. They're just below severe criteria. So winds maybe 40 to 50. Heavy rainfall going to be a concern there, maybe with some flooding. But the biggest concern is certainly going to be the one that we've been watching that's kind of made its way out of Claiborne County and is heading up through portions of Hancock and Hawkins County, right through there. That would be definitely where we're keeping the closest eye on. Looks like it just disappeared on me. There it goes. Now it's back, Matt. Right through here. Zoom in a little bit closer. So southwest of the Sneedville area, between Bald Point, Luther, Duck Creek, maybe just a little less rotation than what we were seeing just a minute ago, but something still is there. There's at least something showing up that has our attention. So Luther 341, Duck Creek 343, Trent Valley 345, Lee Valley 346, Klondike 347. As this map, these have been racing to the east-northeast at over about 55 to 60 miles per hour. So that's why we're saying don't wait if these warnings get issued for your area.
Absolutely, Ken. Also watching areas north of the area of concern, most concern right now. So that's starting to move into portions of Hancock County. But you notice the blue shading showing up? That's indicating very strong winds. And I queried this one. This is still in portions of Hancock County. I mean, we're talking about potentially winds gusting 60 to 70 miles per hour. That certainly can do damage. So good idea to be away from windows right now if you live in Hancock County, and also very strong winds starting to move into the southern portion of the county as well, right in the area of Bald Point. And this is where we potentially could be seeing a tornado reaching the ground, because there's still evidence that there is strong rotation and the winds coming together that could form tornadoes. So we want to take this storm very seriously. If you live in Luther, I need you to be in your tornado safe place at this point. Also, Hawkins County, portions of it included in the tornado warning as well. So notice Alumwell and areas north included in that tornado warning. The storm system, should it hold together, continues to push in that area. So I need you to take tornado precautions as well. If you live near Unicoi School, take your tornado precautions. Still be in your tornado safe place if you live in Duck Creek and Sneedville as well. Almost all of Hancock County is likely under a tornado warning at this point. So everyone in the county should be taking tornado precautions. But the area of concern is really starting to move out of Granger County, but continues to be in portions of Hancock County, where a tornado warning remains in effect until 4:15 this morning.
They're continuing that warning, Matt, but they're kind of saying the rotation's a little more broad compared to what it was earlier.
I agree. We had at points saw that extreme rotation showing up. Thankfully, it went away, and let's hope that trend can continue. We want these storms to weaken, but we want to take them seriously while we still have the at least active tornado warning in effect. So still a good idea to be taking tornado precautions at this point. We're just going to have to, again, analyzing the storm scan by scan because they are moving so quickly. There is heavy rainfall and frequent lightning. These are very loud storms, and the storm system is traveling very quickly. So the time is now to be taking your tornado precautions, especially if you live in Hancock County, portions of Hawkins County. So notice some areas that are included in the warning. We're north of Rogersville, north of Burgoynesville, including areas in Hawkins County like Alumwell. We were keeping a very close eye for our friends there as well. But the area of rotation at this point is in portions of Hancock County, just south of the Sneedville area. But Sneedville, I still would be taking tornado precautions because there's straight line winds with the storm system as well that, like we've been talking about, can do damage. The tornado warning also includes portions of southwest Virginia as well, including Lee County, Virginia until about 4:15. So we're also going to have to keep a close eye on the storm system as it gets a little bit closer to that point. So
we're about to issue a severe thunderstorm warning downstream of that one you're following.
Okay, so a little bit further to the south. So let me zoom out here so we can get a better picture as to what's going on elsewhere.
East of the tornado warning.
East of the tornado warning. Okay, yeah. So it just came back in.
Yes.
So it just showed up on radar. So let me zoom in here so we can get a better picture as to what's going on. So a new severe thunderstorm warning now until 4:30, including portions of Hawkins County. So like we were talking about, from Rogersville up towards Burgoynesville, not included in the tornado warning, but still having that potential for damaging straight line winds, and that's why they've included now a severe thunderstorm warning until about 4:30.
Still the tornado possible tag too.
Which makes sense. They've been keeping the tornado possible tag on all these severe thunderstorm warnings that they've issued. It does look like it clips portions of Greene County, far northern portions in the Baileyton area, but that does include I-81. So we'll have to watch as this storm system could impact eventually the interstate north of the 81-40 split in Jefferson County, heading closer towards the Tri-Cities. So watching this storm system very closely as it moves through portions, especially in Hancock County, eventually making its way to Hawkins County, and now they just downstream have put in another severe thunderstorm warning. So
I think it's becoming more of a line at this point too, Matt.
Okay, let me send it back to you so we can get a better picture of that, and notice there's been a big jump in some power outages.
Yeah,
as well.
No surprise. With these winds coming through, power outages are going to be commonplace. So again, make sure your devices are charged, your tablet, your phone. Will stay on air and online, so in case it does go out, your power or your cable or your satellite with the heavy rain, you can still follow us online as long as you have a cell signal and or internet. So 3,000 showing up, power outages in Knox County, 700 Union, 200 Anderson, 1,500 in Campbell, over 100 now in Scott. Looks like 700 in Fentress County, 1,500 in McCrary, over 1,000 in Whitley, and you see these continue to push east, and I would not be surprised if we get more coming out of the Claiborne County area with this line as it makes its way through. I want to kind of show you another perspective a little further to the south. We're still seeing this extremely heavy rainfall that's making its way through Knoxville into East Knox County. These are not warned on. They're not severe. They're below severe limits, but heavy rainfall in Loudon, Maryville right now. It looks like they just put a new they're keeping an eye on that, like a special weather statement. So let's take a look at some of the cameras real quick. This is what it looked. Crossville's camera actually froze. I think it got hit by lightning earlier. This is McLeod Mountain. So again, we're looking back towards the south and west where some of the really strong winds have been. I want to take a look at Blunt Memorial Hospital camera real quick. We'll switch this camera over and see what we're seeing. I would imagine you can see very gusty winds. We're looking due west towards where that storm is. So this is part of that special weather statement. It's not quite to severe limits, but easily we could be talking about winds gusting maybe 50 plus miles per hour in some spots. Downtown Knoxville, Market Square, heavy rain. Look how it's ponding on the pavement. We're going to see that on the interstate roads as well as we go over the next couple of hours with this band of heavy rainfall that's making its way through. So keep that in mind as well. We've seen numerous reports of some debris down in spots across the region, whether it's trees, whether it's branches, things like that. And I think we're going to see more of that as we get a little bit closer to our sunrise. So the active tornado warnings we have, they're still ongoing for Hawkins till 4:15. But honestly, compared to what this looked like earlier, it's more, to me, looking more like at this point a straight line damaging wind threat. But as we have seen, oftentimes we get little spin ups along this line or little kinks in the line, and that's where you could see a quick spin up, usually like an EF0 or EF1 type tornado. So the winds themselves do damage, but then embedded in that you can see even a little more damage with those tornadoes that quickly spin up and they don't last long. You're definitely not going to be able to see it. It's night, of course, at once, but two, we're talking about extremely heavy rainfall that would keep that from being able to be able to see that as well. So I just want to point out heavy rainfall is going to be a concern, and also these strong winds. I would say the severe threat basically over with the way it's looking. Cumberland, Morgan, Campbell County westward. I'd say we're probably doing pretty good at this point. Still could be some rain, maybe some rumbles of thunder, but I think the severe threat with this wind or tornado potential is kind of moved out of your area. In fact, it's moving very quickly. We're getting it close to the 4 o'clock time frame here, and I'd say by 5, if not sooner, everything's going to be out of our area and we'll be done with this system for the rest of the night, thankfully, as we head into tomorrow morning. But quickly, let's go back. I just want to take a look. Matt, I don't know if you've seen anything, type of update with the Weather Service on this tornado warning that's still ongoing now for Hancock County and the northern sections of Hawkins County. It's up to Virginia as well. Lee County, Virginia goes until 4:15. I've not seen an update from them, but just kind of from what I'm seeing, if we have anything of a little indention along the line, it would be a little further south, probably right along where that warning is located, near Treadway community. It would be right through there. That's right on the border of that warning there into Hawkins County, about to make its way into Hawkins County out of Hancock. Anything else that you're seeing there, Matt?
I haven't received an update from the National Weather Service yet, but we're just going to have to sit here, analyze the storm again. For some of the area, it does still include eastern portions of Knox County, all of Jefferson County. So as the storm system continues to push east, there's likely very strong winds moving through Jefferson County at this point, headed in the direction of Cocke County. So Newport, Dandridge, Jefferson City, good idea to be away from windows. No tornado warning, but strong winds potentially reaching about 60 miles per hour. And the storm system does have the tornado possible tag on it, but at this point not really seeing very strong indications of rotation. But it's really just going to be the damaging wind threat with at least this part of the line. Very heavy rainfall right now, stretching down from Morristown to Jefferson City and headed down to Kodak as well, which could lead to some isolated spots of flooding. Keep that in mind. Getting out the door tomorrow morning or later this morning, just be mindful of any flooded roadways and any damage that has occurred because of the several rounds of storms that we have been dealing with. So we have the one severe thunderstorm warning south of the area where we still have the active tornado warnings, waiting to receive an update. Still seeing less impressive scan of the storm compared to where it was just a few minutes ago, which is some good news. Let's hope we can keep that trend going. But we will continue to monitor this storm because we still do have that active tornado warning in effect and several severe thunderstorm warnings as well. So heavy rainfall and the potential there for maybe some stronger rotation. But at this point, we're just seeing pockets of weaker rotation, not even seeing the extreme or strong rotation anymore, which is good. So hopefully this storm system can continue to weaken. We'll continue to keep a very close eye on it and get a little bit more information. But if anything, it's going to be along the line where we're seeing the very strong winds right here. So if you're in Sneedville, it's looking a little bit better, a little bit safer, and for sure in Big Creek right now. But still dealing with frequent rumbles of thunder and very heavy rainfall right over Hancock County. But the immediate threat is going to be ahead of that line for the potential for either a quick spin-up tornado, but mainly that damaging wind threat, that straight line wind threat that can cause damage. So that's why a lot of these systems, these storms are resulting in severe thunderstorm warnings, but at those quick spin-ups that have prompted the tornado warnings, which still continue at this hour. waiting on an update from the National Weather Service. We'll continue to watch the area here by Friendship and also by Shiloh in Hawkins County, where a tornado warning does remain in effect until 4:15. Watching that area closely. But like we were talking about, I mean, there's no longer extreme or strong rotation with it, so we can hopefully keep that trend going as it does continue off to the east. But like we talked about, if you were here watching us while we were streaming online, that this isn't the most favorable environment for storms. This area of East Tennessee, Southwest Virginia, Southeast Kentucky really saw the storms, especially during the afternoon and evening. Got a little bit of a break. So there's not a lot of energy to work with. So it's still, we want to keep a close eye on the storm system, but hopefully it's moving into an area where there's even less opportunities for it to strengthen up.
Hey, Matt.
Yeah.
I'll show you exactly what you were just talking about. You were talking about the storm fuel across the area. Again, a lot more worked over environment, if you will, from Knoxville eastward, and especially back across the plateau. Notice how we have basically nothing now, which is great. Fentress County, Pickett County, up into McCrary and Whitley County, Kentucky as well. Still seeing enough fuel areas to the south that we'll watch this line as it moves through. But some good news. We talked about the threat that we thought was done. The Weather Service has agreed. They've taken out Cumberland, Fentress, all of our southeast Kentucky counties, with the exception of Harlan. You've been cleared from the tornado watch, meaning your severe threat is over. But honestly, if we take a look again at the radar, I would say the majority, not just Cumberland and Fentress, but I'd go Morgan, I'd go Roane, Anderson, Union, I'd say Claiborne County as well. Much of this area should be free and clear from the severe thunderstorm threat or tornado threat the rest of the night. Still could be some heavy rainfall that could cause some flooding, but really the areas we'll be watching are ahead now where we saw that fuel still. So portions of Sevier County near Gatlinburg, Blount County, especially as we're heading Maryville into the Smokies, and Monroe County as well. These haven't been warned on. They've been below severe limits, but still could have some 30, 40, 50 mile per hour winds and certainly some very heavy rainfall. It's areas to the north, really, that we've seen that stronger, at least rotation potential. But even as we've showed over the past few scans, it's not quite as much as what we saw earlier. This, to me, looks more like a straight line wind threat into Hawkins County. But officially, the tornado warning goes until 4:15, but no update yet from the Weather Service that they're planning on keeping this or letting it expire early. So I would still say I want you in your safe spot, just because the winds themselves along this could be very strong, maybe 50, 60 miles per hour. That in itself could cause a concern, and maybe some trees or power lines to come down in the area. But just analyzing the line, at least initially what I'm seeing, I'd say it's more of a damaging wind threat than a tornadic threat at this point. But we'll wait to see what they do with this warning if they let it ride.
I do think they're about to cancel both of the warnings, so we'll have to wait and make sure. But
at least the tornado warning, but they're going to keep the severe.
Just the tornado warnings at this point.
Okay.
They should be expiring and canceled in the next few minutes.
Okay, so that makes sense. Again, they're seeing what I just mentioned, not quite the rotation that it was earlier with that storm when it was issued for a tornado warning, but still the severe thunderstorm warning for Hawkins County goes until 4:30. It looks like they did drop one of them. I would imagine that the other one will go away soon here as well, Matt.
That one's set to expire at 4. They have
Okay.
expired it, so it may just be until 4 before it gets off the radar.
So we'll take it off. It's basically gone. So mainly just a severe thunderstorm warning now ahead of this line, and that's going to be for Hawkins County, so Rogersville, Gordonsville. We're talking about really some gusty winds that's going to be heading your way, and areas to the south. I'm going to get a look at the Gatlinburg cameras here in just a minute, Matt. We'll take a look at that. But I think at this point, really, it's going to be a wind threat in the next little bit as this continues to move east. Take a look at those winds, Matt. I'll let you analyze those that are heading into Sevier County. Again, maybe you're visiting from out of town. It's a big weekend here in the Sevier County area for Memorial Day weekend. These are extreme winds showing up across the area. The gold, those are going to be over 60 miles per hour or close to it in some spots. Definition again of a severe thunderstorm warning is going to be 58 miles per hour or greater. I wouldn't be surprised, Matt, if they issued some kind of a severe thunderstorm warning. I'd kind of put it out for Sevier County right through there.
Absolutely. We'll just have to wait and see what they decide. But keep in mind, there is at least a special weather statement. So a step down from a severe thunderstorm warning already has been issued. But there are certainly the potential for some damaging winds right now from Sevierville right to Pigeon Forge, head in the direction of Gatlinburg. So if you know anyone, or if you are camping or even vacationing in Sevier County, of course, big weekend for it, the unofficial start to summer, you need to be inside right now. A tent, even a RV or mobile home, really not the best idea to be in. A sturdy building would be good, as the potential for very strong winds rolls through portions of Sevier County. Where we notice the whites and gold showing up, like Ken has mentioned, we're talking about winds reaching over that 58 mile per hour mark, which would be a severe wind, potentially reaching the ground. So we're looking at the winds aloft. Now, the winds would have to obviously reach the ground to result in damage. So we're just going to have to keep a close eye on the storm system as it moves through portions of Sevier County. We're also seeing the stronger winds. Now, no, not the whites that are showing up in Sevier County, but still darker red, so strong winds gusting out ahead of the line, moving through portions of Blount County. I'm sure a lot of people also taking advantage of vacation spots in Blount County. Good idea to be inside right now because still very strong winds in Townsend. The potential there for damaging winds and damaging wind gusts. So the strongest winds, at least closer to Blount and Sevier County, are mainly in Sevier County, but gusty winds out ahead of it. No active severe thunderstorm warnings, at least for this extent of the line. There's still heavy rainfall and frequent rumbles of thunder and flashes of lightning as well. And notice heavy rain from Maryville to Sevierville, eventually making its way to Gatlinburg. And the potentials may be there for some small hail. Looking at the hail paths, not seeing anything showing up here. Did see a few more hail paths with those systems a bit further to the north that have prompted severe thunderstorm warnings and tornado warnings at this point. So that's how it stands in Sevier County and Blount County right now. Let's go down a little bit further to the south to an area where really didn't see much this afternoon or the evening. McMinn and Monroe counties, very heavy rainfall right now from Athens to Madisonville, and also still impacting portions of Loudoun County. So from Lenore City down to Philadelphia, Sweetwater, and Athens also dealing with very heavy rainfall right along I-75. And the potentials there also for some gusty winds. Again, no severe thunderstorm warning in effect here, likely below that severe criteria, but still winds gusting 40 to 50 miles per hour. There is that potential.
I think they issued it a little further to north there for check out Cock, Green, Hawkins, Severe.
Yeah, so that does look like an extension for it. So portions of Sevier County, more of Cock County. So we talked about the initial warning that was for the entire county, Jefferson County. It included northern portions of Cock County. You can see the border right here. So it included Newport, but now it's been extended a little bit further right to the North Carolina state line. So the Tennessee-North Carolina state line. So gusty winds moving through Cock County as well. Yep.
Let me just show you kind of what it looks like. This is Gatlinburg. This is Ripley's Aquarium of the Smokies. Look at all just the pavement pounding rain. And there are some very, very gusty winds. This is that line of storms pushing through. Doesn't have a warning on it, but still could be seeing 50-plus mile-per-hour winds. And then if we go just a little bit up higher in elevation, this is Gatlinburg Sky Park. Look at the flags here, the camera bouncing up and down. You can see downtown Gatlinburg, but it's kind of obscured, again, with the very heavy rainfall we have moving through. You can see some of the chairs, the rocking chairs, moving by themselves with these gusty winds that we have moving through. I'd say at least maybe 30-mile-per-hour winds, certainly possible, the way the flags are kind of standing straight out at attention, and they're basically coming in from the west and pushing back towards the east, and that makes sense with that whole line of storms or wall of wind and rain that's pushing through the area. So that's one view there. We'll take another look. This is what it looks like in downtown Gatlinburg, Ripley's Aquarium of the Smokies. A lot of rain on the lens and then a lot of rainfall down on the surface as well. And again, it makes sense. Quickly, I want to check. I think we were seeing possibly that they're going to talk about canceling some of these areas. They haven't done it yet, but we'll see. I really think the greater risk for severe storms is east of Knoxville now, kind of where we're seeing it down into Sevier County. I'd say by 4:30, the way this is looking, the majority of this severe threat is going to be through our region and done, which would be great to see across the area. But let me show you a wider perspective. Again, the strongest winds making their way into Gatlinburg, as we just showed you with our camera, and then the heavy rainfall here as well. could cause some flooding. So this storm I'm tracking right now near the Gatlinburg area, looks like it's near Hatchertown 409, Norton Creek Ranch 415, and Starkeytown 415 as well. Not seeing much in the way of rotation with it, but certainly some very strong winds, and that's what they're seeing as well coming into eastern Sevier and portions of Cott County. In fact, maybe some brief, broad rotation right there along this little line that we'll have to keep an eye on, Matt, that's kind of right on the border between Sevier and Cott County. Just little indentions, nothing jumping out, but this is kind of what we've seen. This has been really how these storms have been behaving, producing damaging winds, but then the possibility along that we can see little spin-ups, if you will. But at this point, it looks like just certainly a wind-producing system making its way Pigeon Forge into Gatlinburg. So I showed you the strong winds and the rain that's there in the Gatlinburg area. The strongest winds haven't even gotten to the area yet. They are in Sevierville. They are in Pigeon Forge. They are moving eastward. So again, if you're just tuning in, if you're visiting from out of town, strong winds making their way through. These are not tornadic at this point, but easily could be some 40 to 50 plus mile per hour winds. That could cause some trees to come down, especially in those higher elevations and where some of those cabins are. So please just be very careful. If the power goes out again, you can stream us at WATE.com on our free weather app. All you have to do is search Knoxville Weather in the Google Play or in the Apple App Store. That's where you can find us, and we'll be live again until these threats are over with. But right now, the strongest winds look like they're getting pretty close into the downtown Gatlinburg area. Minimum, we've got that very heavy rainfall here that's going to lead to some ponding on roads, maybe even some isolated flooding. Looks like the flag kind of wrapped around now, briefly maybe switched directions, but still going back towards the west. But Matt, I'm going to keep an eye on these cameras. Strongest winds aren't even to this area yet, but they will be soon in the Gatlinburg area. But Pigeon Forge and Sevierville definitely seeing the strong winds now.
Absolutely, Ken. And so along this line, that's also moving through portions of Blount County. So at the airport, McGee Tyson and Alcoa, seeing winds reported between about 40 to 50 miles per hour. So sub-severe, but still very strong winds. And that's what's headed a bit further closer towards Townsend and Gatlinburg at this hour. And of course, the heavy rainfall, the frequent lightning. So you definitely want to be inside right now. Not a good idea to be outside in a tent. Hopefully people had a plan to be able to seek shelter as this line of storms rolls through. But it is quickly getting its way out of our area. So in the next few minutes, eventually it's going to cross the state line and move into North Carolina, and our severe threat will be over with. We're still seeing heavy rainfall, but nothing severe back across the plateau. So moderate rainfall, moderate to heavy rainfall on the plateau, Northern Valley in areas where some of this line has already moved through. But at this point, it continues to push off towards the east, impacting especially the Smokies at this point, or at least getting very close. Like Ken mentioned, the potential for some stronger winds approaching Gatlinburg at this hour. So we'll continue to see the heavy rainfall, frequent lightning, but the potential, the main concern right now is going to be gusty to damaging winds, and that's why we still have a few active severe thunderstorm warnings that are in effect at this hour. So still the concern is winds gusting upwards of about 60 miles per hour, but straight line winds can do damage. We've had numerous reports of trees down across East Tennessee and Southeast Kentucky because of the storms that have moved through currently and have moved through beyond the last few hours into Sunday afternoon, beginning in Sunday afternoon. So very strong winds potentially moving through portions of Cott County at this hour. So from Newport to Parrottsville as well, headed along I-40 into North Carolina. So very strong winds moving through the county right now. And also seeing a pocket of strong winds near Jones Cove School. So let me zoom out just a bit and we can kind of...
Hey, Matt?
Yeah.
Let me take a look at some of the cameras real quick.
Okay.
This is the wind that's moving into the Gatlinburg area right now. That's our Anakeesta camera. So winds have now just made their way into the Gatlinburg area. So that's one view. Let's take a look. That's downtown Gatlinburg, Ripley's Aquarium of the Smokies. Again, there's a lot of rain on the lens, but if you look, you can see how the trees are moving. There's a flag in the distance there. So these are very strong winds. A little bit higher up in elevation. Look at the rocking chairs kind of moving on their own, just indicative of how strong these winds are that are moving into the Gatlinburg area as we speak. At least we can still see the downtown area. I imagine imagine, though, pretty soon when some of this really heavy rainfall comes through, it's going to be a little more difficult to see. But the Anakeesta camera, I had it zoomed in just a little bit, but it's actually moved. The camera moved because of the strong winds that we had in the area, because that's not where I had it focused on that building there and that statue that they have. So let me move it back just a little bit back towards the west, and that's going to be back towards the northwest in the Anakeesta area. But certainly this is where the strongest winds are making their way through this area right now in Gatlinburg. So heavy rainfall. You can see some of the trees here. Everything's still intact, which is good to see. But yeah, you can see just how strong these winds are. I'd estimate maybe at least 40 mile per hour winds going through the Gatlinburg area as we speak. Another quick look downtown, maybe not quite as strong in some of those slightly lower elevations. And this is about 2,000 feet out the Gatlinburg Sky Park. There is a severe thunderstorm warning down extreme eclipse in McMinn County, so just kind of on the fringe of our viewing area. It's with this cell that's closer to Soddy Daisy, Red Bank, and Collegedale. So that's not going to impact our areas. That's moving more to the east. And this is just heavy rainfall right now in Madisonville. So I'd say in the next little bit, probably in the next 15, 20 minutes, Matt, if we don't see any additional concerns, we'll probably send it back to regular programming. Good Morning Tennessee is going to start at 4:30. But in the short term, we'll still just kind of keep an eye right there east of Jones Cove School. That's going to be in Sevier County, and over into Cott County, where we have this warning that goes until 4:45. It's just going to be a damaging wind threat the way this is looking right now. Don't want to take that lightly, because easily we could be talking about some power lines or trees down. But you can see the latest update there. It's not going to last long before this is moved really out of our viewing area and gone into the Smokies. So the heaviest winds right now, strongest winds rather, right in the Gatlinburg area, just when I showed you from those cameras as those storms are moving through. Still very gusty, most likely Sevierville, Pigeon Forge. If I take a wider perspective, you can see that's where really those strong winds are. They're pushing quickly into the foothills and into the Smokies, and there's not much left back towards the north and west, which is great to see. Still some rain, pavement pounding rain, obviously in the Madisonville area, and that's something we'll have to keep an eye on, Matt, ponding on the roadways here. I know a lot of people off, obviously, for Memorial Day, but if you are going to be getting out traveling, watch for some of the standing water into the Smokies. Those creeks, streams, rivers, they will continue to rise as we get closer to daybreak, as you get runoff from the higher elevations. And there could easily be still some tree branches down or some limbs down or things like that we've seen from these storms as they've gone through the area. In fact, quickly I'll take a look, just see if we have an update here on some of the power outages across the area real quick. Let's take a look right through here. So over 8,000 now in Knox County without power. We've got 1,500 Campbell, and also into McCreary County, Kentucky. Looks like 1,000 in Fentress, over 100 in Granger, 500 in Claiborne, 800 right now in Union County. So that makes sense. As this line has gone through, there's 2,000 up into Knox County, Kentucky. So not real surprising, these winds that have come through. It doesn't take much, a tree or a power line, to get knocked down to see this kind of outages across the area. As of now, the official watches have been canceled for Cumberland, Fentress up into southeast Kentucky, but I'd honestly say Anderson, Campbell, Scott, Morgan, Roan, Ray, Meigs, Bledsoe, you're probably clear from the severe threat as this is going to rapidly make its way through the area. So that is good news. We'll continue to see improving conditions. Let me show you real quick one more time. This is Gatlinburg from our Anakeesta camera. Very gusty winds here. Downtown Gatlinburg, very heavy rainfall on the plaza, covering up the lens, unfortunately. A little difficult to see, a little easier to see here, but winds maybe not quite as strong, Matt, as they were just a minute ago. There's a flash of lightning, but heavy rainfall. So just a little bit longer, I'd say, and then we'll be done with this as we go through the rest of the morning.
We're certainly getting very close, so some good news there, but still the potential is for strong winds. We're likely going to feel the strong winds, especially where some of the cameras are, top the Sky Park in Gatlinburg, top Anakeesta. So those higher elevations likely have the potential, the best potential of seeing winds approaching the 60 to maybe even 70 mile per hour mark. Can query some of these colors. I mean, 59 miles per hour, at least aloft, 63 miles per hour near Gatlinburg, 62. Now, this is the view from the radar. The radar is estimating these winds. This is the potential of what could be reaching the ground, and that's why we started to see the camera shaking, and even the fact that the camera at Anakeesta was able to turn just because of the wind. So remarkable there, especially across the higher peaks of the Smokies. So we still have the severe thunderstorm warning in effect. It does include portions of Sevier County until 4:45 this morning, as well as Cocke County, the entire county under a severe thunderstorm warning for the potential for very strong winds. But you're likely to get the winds out ahead of the rain, and notice that the brunt of the system is getting very close to pushing out of our area, moving into portions of North Carolina. But there's still very heavy rainfall falling in Cocke County at this hour. So we also have the severe thunderstorm warning in effect till 4:45 as well. For Greene County, again, the main concern is going to be very strong winds as this storm system continues to push in. And we have another severe thunderstorm warning a bit further to the north. This was continuation from the storm that produced the tornado warnings back through portions of Claiborne County, Granger, and Hancock counties. No tornado threat at this point, but we're going to keep a close eye on it. The main concern is damaging winds as the storm system continues to push off to the east, headed over towards the Tri-Cities and outside of our viewing area. So the potential still there for very strong winds through portions of Hawkins County, as well as still in southwest Virginia. But let's also look at the reflectivity. Notice, again, the brunt of the system starting to get outside of Lee County, Virginia. So we'll continue to watch the storm system as it moves through Hawkins County. Likely very heavy rainfall from Rogersville to Burgoynesville. This system will continue to track off towards the east-northeast. So some estimated times of arrival for you. Headed to Baileyton, right along I-81 by about 4:19, and Honeycutt by about 4:20, and Enterprise by about 4:13. So this storm system quickly headed towards the Tri-Cities. So watching it very closely. Heavy rainfall right along I-81 right now through portions of Greene County. So like we mentioned, Baileyton as well, north of Greenville, and still under that severe thunderstorm warning for the potential for very strong winds gusting roughly 60 miles per hour, if not maybe reaching 70 miles per hour, especially for areas with a little bit more elevation as the storm system continues to push off towards the south and east overall. So starting to move out of our area, but we're getting close. We're not quite there yet. 4:11 this morning, watching heavy rainfall, especially for the counties that border North Carolina, from Monroe to Blount to Sevier to Cocke and Greene. Still heavy rainfall. The system still able to produce very strong winds, but it is quickly getting out of our area. So the potential is there for very strong winds through Blount County right now, and also in Sevier County, and starting to get down towards Tellico Plains as well in Monroe County. So watching that very closely as it continues to make its way towards North Carolina. But we were also earlier watching out for rotation, not seeing at least much rotation, especially the southern end of this line. It's really areas that still have weak rotation that are under the severe thunderstorm warning at this point. So weak to maybe an isolated spot of stronger rotation, but I do think it would be broad, and the main concern is going to be damaging straight line winds, especially from Cocke and Greene counties at this point, pushing south and southeast towards North Carolina. And that area that was producing tornado warnings at some point, not producing a tornado warning at this point, but it continues to move out of our area as well. So let me take a zoomed out view so you can get a better picture of what's going on. This is the main line that's really starting to get very close to pushing out of our area, but we're still dealing with rain, Knoxville to La Follette, Wartburg, and Jamestown, and Crossville. But the good news is the immediate severe threat is going to be ahead of this line, and we're getting really close to really giving everyone the all clear to be able to go to bed and start your Memorial Day and not have to worry about the potential for strong to severe storms. But we're just going to have to keep a close eye on the potential for some localized flooding. Now, we've seen rainfall estimates from today, roughly 1 to 2 inches. We saw a line of storms yesterday that actually moved through from about Jamestown to Knoxville and points southward. That picked up 1 to 2 inches for a lot of us. And we had storms Friday, Thursday, and Wednesday. So it has been a soggy couple of days. It's been a soggy couple of weeks. There's a lot of water already in the ground. So we're going to have to watch for the potential for some localized flooding. And as you're traveling this morning, watch out down trees, down tree limbs, power outages. Watch out for power lines. We want to just make sure everyone's safe, especially if you're traveling early this morning. Very dark out, hard to see, and of course we still have the rain falling, so you definitely want to just take it slow if you do need to head somewhere early on this Memorial Day. But our severe threat very close to being over. We're not quite there yet, but we will continue to see this storm push out of our area, and eventually we will be able to give everyone the all clear.
Hey, Matt.
Yep.
A couple of house cleaning things here. We can go ahead and turn off the generator here. And what we're going to do in the next few minutes, about 30 seconds from now, we're going to go ahead and sign off and online and on air, because Good Morning Tennessee starts in 15 minutes and we're going to have a full recap from there. But as of right now, the only warnings we have are areas into Cotton County that goes until 4:45, and we've seen kind of a downtrend in that storm as it's moved to the east. Very heavy rainfall in Sevier County. I'd say for the most part, the severe threat is going to be over with for these areas. Let me just kind of draw it quickly. So I'd say from Knox County, Hamblin, anywhere west through there for now, the severe threat's over. Still just a little bit longer here over into the foothills and into the Smokies. But again, we're going to go ahead and sign off now. Good Morning Tennessee starts at 4:30. We're going to have the latest for you. But again, stay with us again at 4:30. We'll keep you updated, and we appreciate you staying with us and trusting us as your source for weather.